this show is 1,000 times better than any radio or TV show because of Peter and actually interacting with the fans. I love the fans. I mean, this is what I envisioned. When I started this show at the radio station and it was 1,000 watts and we had nobody calling in and we had to create these characters. And I always talk about Rich from Clearwater and the reason why that vehicle was created because we didn't have any callers. So we had to create callers and we gave the callers the opportunity to call in twice. And we used to give them the walk-up music. And damn it, I would do the walk-up music if it was not for copyright on Facebook or YouTube. But I am monetized now. So I have to mind my P's and Q's. But I love that. I love interacting with the Tampa Bay sports fan. Sean, the sports Don, loved interacting with the sports fan. This is what this was built on. This is what this show was all about. Whether it's one person watching, 10 people watching, 100 people watching, 1,000 people watching, 10,000 people watching, 100,000 people watching, 1 million, which is the goal of this show. It doesn't matter. We're always going to interact with you because you mean something and you are the lifeblood of this show. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to night 2 of the NFL draft, second and third round as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are up in 5 picks. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. And how do we start off this show as we always do here on a Monday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday. You know them, you love them, you got to have them. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. Of course, the Bucs picking Graham Barton last night at 26. Your thoughts on that, Bucs fans? Definitely want to get your initial thoughts on it. I put it out there on Facebook and all social media, and it seems like everybody really likes that pick. So the phone lines will be open. We're just awaiting the Bucs to get on the clock there at 57 unless they decide to trade out or trade up. A lot of the prospects that some fans wanted that they figured that the Bucs would be able to get are no longer on the board at this point. Jackson Powers Johnson, he is off the board. Cooper DeJean is off the board. Keon Coleman is off the board. So plenty of Kool-Aid to the Saints is off the board. So we will see what they do. The pick is in for the Colts, and it looks like they've taken Donnie Mitchell. Again, phone lines are open. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to the comments here. Ben says, what's up, Peter Blake? Liking our first pick. Looks like he can definitely make a difference. Absolutely. And some of the scouts, Daniel Jeremiah saying, one of the most athletic, if not the most athletic offensive lineman in this draft. That's pretty good. And that's the reason why you go with him over a Jackson Powers Johnson. And I told you that there were some medical red flags out there. That's why he slipped into the second round, maybe. Because the initial thought process on Johnson is that he was going to go in the first round, and he didn't. He went in the second round. So there was something there. And, Barton's a clean prospect, so we'll definitely get into that. But I agree. I completely agree with you. Looks like he's going to be your new center. You're going to have Hansy on the left guard side there with some competition. Depending on what they do here, they may go offensive line. Again, who knows? It's not a bad pick. I mean, look, you're signing Baker Mayfield. And let me just preface this by saying I got on this show and Harry the Greek was completely correct. He said interior line. I said edge rusher. If there were an edge rusher on the board, I think they would have taken an edge rusher. But they were, crossing their, they were hoping that he was there. And he was. So good for the Bucs. I think they definitely knocked it out of the park there. Seems humble, ready to get work. LFG. Tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. Welcome to the Evolution. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the Sports Web.
Hi, my name is Salvatore Anthony, and I'm calling about the Jets from New York City.
All right, what's up, man? What do you want to talk about your Jets? How do you think they did so far?
Know because you guys they got the offensive tackle.
Okay.
Right? And you have this situation with Aaron Rodgers, and he's hurt in his Achilles heel.
Okay. Yes.
And if that happens again, then my mom, she said that if we lose again, that I can't get a new jersey. And I have a problem. I need Aaron Rodgers to win so I can get his jersey with the new logo.
Okay.
Because the logo is new. Have you seen it?
I have. It's important. Those are the important priorities, my friend. You hope that Aaron Rodgers can not only stay healthy because he may take your team to the playoffs, but because you get your new jersey. Absolutely. I understand.
The playoffs, am I expected to want the playoffs? And please, if he gets to the playoffs,
well, I think that's listen, Salvador, I think that's the expectation, right? I mean, you go after Mike Williams. Salvatore, sorry about that. That is the expectation. You pick up Mike Williams, you have Garrett Wilson there. You sign Aaron Rodgers for a couple years. He got hurt, so the expectations are high with the Jets, and that's the reason why you draft the big offensive lineman out of Penn State.
But what am I going to tell my mom?
Why?
What am I going to tell my mother if she thinks that the offensive line is not strong enough?
Right.
Then I can't get a new Aaron Rodgers jersey.
Well, you say, Mom, calm down because it is strong enough because you got one of the best offensive linemen in the draft. That's what you say.
Yes, but is he seasoned enough in the NFL? He's never played in the NFL.
Well, it's true. I mean, there's a transition process. You're exactly right about that. And it may take some time for him to come in right away, but I think he's good enough. He's done it. He's only given up, 1 sack in 2 years. So I definitely think it's possible for him to go in there. And look what Tristan Wirfs did for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? On this show in 2020 during the Super Bowl year, he comes in right away. And how many sacks does he give up that year? 1 or 2? Leonard Floyd comes to mind. I think it was like 1 or 2 sacks that year. So it can happen. It's happened before. It can happen again. So just say, hey, Mom, just give it a chance. All right. And get yourself a jersey. What else?
You made me feel better.
Good. That's what I do here. That's I make everybody feel better. I entertain people. I educate people here on the Sports Web. I'm glad I can make you feel better.
Tell people, please tell them about Salvatore Anthony. I'm going to let them know.
Salvatore Anthony. Yes. All right. Get your jersey and let us know. Call me back. All right. Boy, oh boy. Wow. What a way to start the show. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. You gotta love that. Right? His mom had to be convinced. Sounds like my family. I got to convince my mom that the Bucs are good sometimes. Are they really that good? She texts me last night and says, how come you didn't tell me that J.J. McCarthy went to Minnesota? I said, wait a minute. You're supposed to be watching the show. Yeah, I sit on here about 4 hours doing draft coverage, talking to everybody here, Harry the Greek, and of course, talking to Leo Haggerty. We're all Travis Faley, talking to callers. And you're supposed to follow pick by pick. You're supposed to stay here for 4 hours. So I had to explain that to her. So important call there by Mr. Salvatore getting his jersey. All right, we'll continue to read these comments. Boy, oh boy, I tell you right now, you guys are something else. That was great. Seems humble and ready to get to work. LFG. Let's go out to Ben. I wonder who we're looking at pick 57, and we shall find out here pretty soon. Commanders pick is in. They take the tight end out of Kansas State, Ben Sanat. So there you go. I didn't say snot. I said Sanat. Okay. All right. Day 2, Christopher Cole. Absolutely. Let's go out to Anthony Christie. What about Marshawn Nealon with the Bucs next pick? Absolutely a possibility. The thing that you can put the comparison with Chop Robinson, definitely athletic, but the production isn't there. So is that the reason why he's slipping to the second round? We'll see if he makes it there. The Browns now are on the clock. We're at 54, so we're only a couple of picks away. So good comment there, Anthony. Appreciate it. Yeah. Good evening, Peter. What's up, Tim? How you doing? Welcome to the Evolution. Good evening, Peter. To you. Thank you, Vernon. I appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Actually, let's do this. Woo! Because he'll be making the pick here in a couple minutes. They're at 54 right now. The Browns coming up here. We'll see who they pick. What up, Pete? Just got the notification. Thanks a lot for coming on. Acknowledge Caleb Williams. I'll acknowledge you. Acknowledge me. Right there. And let's go out to Instagram Live. No comments out there. Couldn't share it as much as I wanted to tonight because Facebook once again doing some dumb stuff there. They actually restricted my account for 6 days. I'm not even joking about this. I guess somebody reported me. But you gotta love Facebook. Gotta love it. Thank you very much, Facebook, for once again stopping me from sharing the evolution of sports talk television. So it's gonna be 6 days from tonight. So I guess it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and right on time for Wednesday. So maybe I'll just come back on Wednesday. Maybe I'll just give Facebook what they want. Or maybe I'll just come back and not share it at all. Maybe you guys should share it. Share, like, and follow. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Also, news around the NFL. As in one case, Roger Goodell was on the Pat McAfee show today talking about extending the season to 18 games. In fact, 2 preseason games, 18 regular season games. And then in the same breath, allowing players, it's optional, to wear the Guardian caps, which looks pretty weird, but also decreases concussions. So we could definitely get into that. Without further ado, let me go ahead. Let's see here. We're at 54 for the Browns. I believe they selected Michael Hall Jr., Ohio State defensive tackle. So we are only 2 picks away, Miami, Dallas, and then Tampa, and we'll see what they do in the second round. Let's go out to my co-host. Here we go. From a Coach Scout and now media member of Night Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports.
Book him, Dano.
Mr. Leo Haggerty, welcome back here on a second night edition of the NFL Draft, rounds 2 and 3. And let's get into it here. Graham Barton, of course, the story here. He had his introduction today. Very humble, very high character guy. Your initial thoughts, once again, of Barton being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. And it looks like he's definitely going to be the new starting center of this team. So good on Jason Light and good on that administration. Welcome to the Evolution.
Thank you for having me on, Peter. And again, closest thing to Ryan Jensen that they could find in the draft.
Yeah.
Very, very good pick. What drives me nuts, Peter, is, some people are saying it's a little bit of a stretch because he was graded, high second round. But again, the key is if this kid starts, the pick is good because your first round pick has to start somewhere.
Right.
Now, there is one caveat to that. Quarterback. You can sit them. You can let them marinate. You can let them stew a little bit, which is good. And again, people are saying, well, no, you got to play him. Guess what? Let's look at the quarterbacks that sat. Patrick Mahomes turned out pretty well. Aaron Rodgers turned out pretty well. There's a guy in Philadelphia who sat. Turned out pretty well.
Jalen Hurts, yeah.
Normally, you don't get it. Oh, and by the way, the GOAT sat for a while, didn't he, behind Drew Bledsoe? So,
he did.
Yeah, it's such an exponential jump. And the reason why it's a problem for quarterbacks is the league is different. The rules are different. In college, linemen can go 3 yards down the field and not be considered ineligible receivers. Pro, it's 1 yard. And that changes the whole dynamic with the RPO, the run pass option.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I saw Harry the Greek called in. Harry, if you want to call in or get on video, definitely call back. We'll get you on here. Christopher Cole says, Edge, please. You've already had a guy go off the board. And by the way, it's very interesting because I mentioned this last night. If Graham Barton is not on the board because they're keeping their fingers crossed there for him and they're happy and they're excited to get him because he was one of their targets, they go for not Jackson Powers Johnson. They go for Johnny Newton. By the way, he goes to the Washington Commanders. Pretty good pickup there. I'm surprised because he supposedly, from all kinds of talking heads, statistically was going to be the best defensive tackle in this draft, and he goes all the way to the second round. So your thoughts on that? If Barton's not there, you go with Johnny Newton.
Well, you know what, Peter? The run on quarterbacks, the run on offensive tackles, excuse me, and the run on wide receivers.
Yeah.
That was the first 12 picks. 3 wide receivers, 3 offensive tackles, 6 quarterbacks. That's going to drop people down the draft. Not because they're not as good, just because of the way it was set up.
Yeah.
And again, we had talked about this. I think a lot of teams had what they would have as a normal draft board, and then they would have a need draft board, knowing that, okay, I don't need a quarterback. So why do I even bother putting these guys up on the board? So, yeah, very interesting scenarios here. Peter, again, what I've taught you and what was taught to me is you work from the football out.
Yeah.
The Bucs needed a center. They got a center. Now, the next thing is they probably need a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see a guy who is multi-hyphenated. In other words, he can play tackle, but he can play end.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking at. If there's not one there, hey, you can never go bad with a cornerback.
No, you certainly can't. And Christopher Cole says, Edge, please. Tim says, got to get TJ Tampa fits for some reason, of course. And then let's go out to Ben here. I'm sorry, but if they start wearing the caps over their helmet, definitely making the game softer. Sorry. I mean, what did you think about that today? I mean, in one breath, Roger, and I get it. I understand this. It's all about money. It's all about taking advantage of it. You want to have the Super Bowl on, President's Day weekend there, a 3-day weekend, which, by the way, is actually a good idea because you don't have to go back to work on Monday. You get it off after, doing what you do on Sunday. So that's actually a good idea. It extends the season. But again, in one breath, you want to go 18 games. And then another, you want to go with the guardian cap. Your thoughts on this whole guardian cap situation? I get it. It's optional. It's also decreasing concussions, but it looks kind of odd. I'm just saying.
Peter, it reduces concussions. I'm all for it.
Right.
Again, my biggest concern is I just don't think the helmets fit.
Yeah.
And again, from what I understand, talking to helmet manufacturers, I don't know if this is still true, but I know it was true in the past. If you wear a skull cap or if you wear hair extensions, it voids the warranty in the helmet.
Mm.
Now, if that's the case, why are you doing that as a player?
Yeah.
Because and again, I had the vice president of Shut, who made helmets.
Okay.
And he said it's got to be borderline uncomfortable. And it does. It needs to be borderline uncomfortable. Remember, when Peyton Manning used to take his helmet off, see that red line across his forehead?
Yeah.
You know what that meant? That helmet was pressed in there.
Mm.
And if you can take your helmet off, I don't understand this one. If you can grab the face mask and take your helmet off like that, I don't think it fits. You should have to pull it out of the earpieces to get it out.
All right, so we're coming up here on the Tampa Bay Buccaneer pick. Dallas is on the clock. The pick is in. They're picking at 56. So one more Bucs fans, and we shall see what the Bucs do here. Do they go for an edge? Do they go for a corner? Could they go with a running back? They're not going to go with the Keon Coleman, but they could definitely address the wide receiving position. I don't know if they do it here or in the third round. You see them going edge. Is it edge at this point for you? for the Bucs?
Peter, I'm going to go back to 3 words. Trust your board.
Okay.
What do you got on your board?
Yeah.
And again, is it your need board or is it your talent board?
Yeah.
That's what we'll never know.
All right. I'm gonna keep that thought here because I'm gonna go ahead and get this guy on. Here's my co-host, also professional handicapper extraordinaire of the sports web. Here we go. Mr. Harry the Greek, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. You're on with yours truly, along with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Night 2 of the draft. What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, man, you can call me the prognosticator or you can call me the fortune teller.
Well, I've already patted you on the back, my friend. You already got your flowers there. You're exactly right. I still believe, though, and I was right about this, that if they don't get an interior lineman, they would have gone with Johnny Newton. That is what Pewter Report has put out there. They would have gone with the defensive tackle, again, to help their rush, but they were very fortunate to get Barton.
I am telling you right now, Leo and I hit that right on the head.
Yes.
Leo, great job. But after watching a little bit more tape,
yeah,
I have to tell you, Leo, I think there's 1A and 1B, and I think the Bucs probably got the steal of all the offensive linemen in this draft to get him there. I really do. No one ever tagged him to be a top 10 or even a top 15 pick.
Mm-hmm.
But does this guy really have the potential to be the best lineman in this draft? I mean, I'd love your thoughts. Oh, and by the way, the Greek is telling you he's feeling an edge rusher coming on in the second round.
Well, I definitely think that's a possibility. It's certainly a possibility. What edge rusher will it be? We shall see at the end of the day who it is. But going back to it, and this is according to Joe Bucs fan and Daniel Jeremiah, in terms of stylistically, Graham Barton is the best athlete of the 3. I think he has a legit 5-position flexibility. I think he's the best at center, but he can survive at tackle. And this is what Jason Light has done throughout his career. Get guys that play left tackle, a.k.a. Alex Kappa, a.k.a. Luke Gedeke, and move them to guard or center. And even he compared this player, Barton, to an Ali Marpet, and also compared him to a Ryan Jensen. But he says best at center, but he can survive at tackle if you need him to. He's fully capable of playing guard as well. He's the best in space, change of direction, and just overall athleticism. He's really, really talented there. So there you go. That's what Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network says. And if that's accurate, Bucs fans, you should be absolutely excited.
I'd be happy if it was Ryan Jensen's brother. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, like a Ryan Jensen. That's just a hell of a name, right?
We got bad news here, Bucs fans. Marshawn Nealon just went off the board for the Dallas Cowboys out of Western Michigan. That was, I know, a lot of Bucs fans' dreams there. No, the Cowboys got him before the Bucs, so it's no. Okay. Yeah, just took an edge rusher. So we'll see. Also played basketball, but his production wasn't that great. Although he played alongside Brandon Fisk, which let's kind of switch gears here. What the Rams did is intelligent. You go for Jared Verse. I loved him. I thought he was one of the cleanest prospects in this draft. And then who do you get? Why did Jared Verse have so much success at Florida State? You get his running mate there in Brandon Fisk because you lose Aaron Donald. Leo, I got to ask you about that because the Bucs are ready to come up here any minute now. So Brandon Fisk, Jared Verse to the Rams, your thoughts?
It's hard to go wrong with guys that show up on tape, and both of them did.
Yeah.
Again, you got to trust that one-eyed monster in the sky because it doesn't lie. It shows you what you got, and you know I'm not a big combine fan. I like it for the interviews, but you know what they do on the field there is kind of useless.
The pick is in right here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They rushed to it. So who is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers pick? We shall see here in just a couple of minutes. Nealon just got picked, so are they going to go Braswell here from Alabama? That's being talked about. We'll see. We'll absolutely
He's one
see.
of the best defensive players in the draft, by the way. who doesn't get talked about.
Yeah.
If the Buccaneers are blessed enough to get that young man from Alabama, they will have just locked it down for the next 10 years.
I tell you right now, I'm impressed with Bill Belichick and also Nick Saban, their breakdowns of these these draft picks. I think that's also been a highlight. Whatever I've been able to see, it's been the highlight of this draft with those two coaches and their knowledge and all the years of experience in football of what they've had to break down some of these guys. So,
yeah, you know what, guys? Just keep in mind now, Jason Light loves in that second and third round to take a small school guy.
Yep.
We may see that happen.
Could be McCormick at guard, although could they be done with offensive line because you address that.
Hey guys, it wouldn't break my heart to see him draft another offensive lineman. Let's keep.
No, not at all.
Could you go running back here? Could you go with
Corn?
Could you go?
Stop it. Stop. No running back, no receivers, offense or defense. Let's go.
Whoa. No. If you have an opportunity to get a second running back here to help out White, because you got Chase Edmonds, he's a veteran. So if there's a good running back here, maybe they take a Ray Davis later on in the third. Maybe not now. Trey Benson could be on the board, could be in that situation.
There's a lot of good running backs in this draft. You can find them in the third, fourth rounds. You can find them later on. You don't have to turn around and I don't like to use the word waste a draft pick, but if you're picking up a running back in the second round, you're reaching. That's just my opinion. Wow. It's just my honest opinion, especially in today's NFL.
Harry, you hit the nail on the head. In today's NFL, a running back is not an every down back.
Yeah,
it's going to change depending upon first, second, third down. Yeah.
No.
I don't want to hear wide receiver. I don't want to hear running back. I want to hear a nice edge rusher that's going to complement. And I'd really get tickled pink if that young man from Alabama gets called right now.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see what the Bucs do. The pick is up, so we're just waiting for this stupid commercial to go.
You're waiting for the commercial?
Yeah, we're talking, for the commercial.
And I am getting ready. I'm telling everybody in the world, I am getting ready to enjoy a really nice ice cream cone from Dairy Queen.
Well, that's great. I heard you had a good day too, with some scratch coming your way, right?
Hey, you know what, Pete? Can we Harry, I want to jump in. Who's your early favorite for the Derby?
Not yet. I'm not giving it out yet.
There's a smart man.
I've got nothing personal. And again, please, I understand I'm obligated with the Sports Web. I have 2 radio stations that are interviewing me next week for that, and I promised I wouldn't give those picks out yet. And after that's done, then of course I'm going to go ahead and give that out on the Sports Web.
Okay, all right, I like it. I like it a lot. We're awaiting this pick as a lot of Bucs fans are curious to see what the Bucs are going to do.
But off the air, Leo,
mm-hmm.
I'll give you my pick, buddy.
Is it Braswell? Let's go ahead and see. Let's check this out and see if he's the pick at this point, because that's not a bad pick for the Bucs.
Go Tampa. Go Tampa. Go Tampa.
Let's see who makes the pick.
Yeah.
That'll be the interesting part.
4.6 in the 40-yard dash.
You know what's an interesting twist here? I don't know if he's been picked up yet. Is this Chris Abrams drain? This guy's real intriguing. He doesn't have a lot of size, but boy, he could really close in really hard. That's the kid from Missouri. Right. The other quarterback, Enos Rakstra Jr.
There you go.
Let me tell you something.
That's a corner. They could go that direction also from
let me
Missouri.
Tell you something.
Yeah.
Yep. And that kid's a thumper. They're both.
There you go. There you go.
Chris Braswell, that's who it is, according to our good friend, Mr. TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network. Chris Braswell from Alabama. That is your pick right there, edge rusher. They got him. And here is the overview for him. Again, Chris Braswell from Alabama is the pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So there you go. Your thoughts, Leo? I mean, we talked about it, 6'3", 251. I want to get out to this overview because this is from NFL.com. Edge defender with good size and length, but limited playing time over his 4 years at Alabama. Braswell chose to stick it out at Alabama rather than transferring, was rewarded with production. Final campaign. He doesn't play with great technique or anchor as an edge setter, and his average in taking on the line tight ends at the point of attack. As a pass rusher, he gets off the ball with good burst, uses a variety of moves, speeds, and angles to create opportunities, but needs to add counters to his approach. Braswell might have a ceiling as a good 3-4 backup or an average designated pass rusher with core special teams value. So there you go. That is the scouting report on him. Let me go out to you, Leo, being a scout. Your thoughts on this kid at the end of the day?
Well, when you take a second-round pick, guys, this guy's got to contribute somewhere. Your first-round pick has to start. Your second-round pick has to contribute. This is a perfect spot for a guy to come in as a third down pass rusher, period. End of story. That could be exactly what the Bucs need, is somebody who can do that.
You put 15 pounds on that young man, Leo, and let me tell you what you have. You've got an every down person that can play, because then he's not going to be limited. Even if the guards and the tackles get their hands on him, they're not going to be able to shut him that easy.
Yeah.
You put a little weight on him, especially in a Todd Bowles defense, boy, oh boy, oh boy, you're going to have something special. But you're right. Year one, he will be a situational pass rusher, and it is exactly what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need. Put some weight on him in year two, year three, and all of a sudden you got, you know who? The next Alex Brown. That's who he reminds me of.
Wow. I
got to call back, guys. I'm sorry.
All right. Thanks a lot, Harry. Appreciate you. As always, expecting TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network to get his thoughts on these last couple of days with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Graham Barton at number 26 and now Chris Braswell at 57. Your thoughts, Jim? I saw you call in. Call back in. Call back in if you want to talk about this. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Some more from NFL.com. Strengths, snap burst allows him to race up the field and attack the edge. Well-planned rush approach with diverse attack strategies. Let's go out to this guy here, see what he thinks of the pick.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell is the matter with you?
Let's go out to Mr. Jim. Jim, welcome to the Evolution. You're on with yours truly, along with Leo Haggerty, the legend.
Tell Harry to get off the phone and get on the damn video chat.
Well, exactly. Hold on, Jim. Let me put you on hold really quick. Stand by. We're on with Jim. We're going to finish up with Jim, and then we'll come back to you, all right?
All right.
All right, stand by. I think that is Jeremy right there. So, Jim, your thoughts. Barton and Braswell, the two Bs there, solidifying two positions there, one in the interior line and the other an edge rusher.
Yeah, we got a big Alabama boy, so we getting them picks that I thought we were going to get edge rushers and offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And what else we need? Now, so what we're going to get in the third round? Are we going to do the third round tonight?
Well, we're gonna do the third round tonight, and they got two picks there, and they could always move back into the second round, take one of those third round picks if somebody happens to slip, and they say, you know what, we're liking somebody that's on our board. What do you think of Barton there, Jim?
Yeah, we got a big Alabama boy. You know they all corn-fed out there.
They are, and I look at it and I say, you know, Braswell doesn't have a lot of snaps. But here's a kid. This is what I take out of this, right? The profile basically explained it. He could have transferred somebody with somewhere else, and he decided to stick it out and make the best of the situation. I already like that kid because he's a stand-up guy.
Hey, Peter, who was he playing behind at Alabama? Oh, he was the second pick in the daggum draft for the Houston Texans.
Oh, yeah. Pretty good. Yep. That would be Will Anderson, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. So not too bad, not bad company. And if you remember, I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there. You know, Shaq Barrett, he backed up Von Miller. Nobody expected anything out of him, and he came out of nowhere. So who knows? Maybe this kid learned something from Anderson. He's definitely going to get the opportunity there with JTS and Anthony Nelson. Of course, Yaya Diaby. That's exactly what we have talked about on this show, addressing it either in the first round or in the second round. They got their center there in the first round, and now they got their edge rusher and Braswell from Alabama. What else, Jim?
So who do you think we're going to go for next? I mean, as far as position.
I think wide receiver.
You could go wide receiver. You could go corner. You could go running back. I don't think they're at. I think
you got to go linebacker eventually, Peter, because Levante's getting a little old in the tooth.
He is, but then again, you drafted Savasier Dennis, so that could be your future. You have KJ Britt there. I'm trying to think of the other kid that they had come in who played very well for them. I don't necessarily think that linebacker is one of the biggest needs there. I think you could go skilled position.
I think we can use another running back. I've been thinking. I mean, not to get rid of the one we got, but for at least a backup, or they can switch out because they be switching out running backs in the NFL nowadays.
Yep, you definitely need two strong running backs in the league, and you need to give White an opportunity. Give somebody else the carries there. You still have Chase Edmonds. You have the kid they drafted last year who hasn't worked out yet. You still may have. What was the kid's name they drafted out of Syracuse? He always escapes me.
Hunter, wasn't it?
What was his name?
What is Hunter?
No. The running back for.
It's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's been a long 3 days here, it seems like. I'm trying to think of what his name is out of Syracuse. I'll get it in just a moment here. Anything else, Jim?
No, just looking forward to getting these picks from Tampa. So
that's it.
You can go to the next caller, huh?
You got one, so you absolutely can call back, and we'll sit here and wait and talk about the draft with you and read comments and everything else. All right, my friend.
All right, man. Take it easy.
All right, take it easy. Let's go out to the phone lines here. Is this Jeremy?
No, this is Corey from Tampa, Florida.
Oh, what's going on, buddy? What do you think about this latest pick here? What do you think about Barton in the first round? Welcome to the Sports Web.
Oh, what's up, man? I wanted to ask the scout. They had Barton. When he played at Duke, he was a tackle, left tackle. And
Sean Tucker's the running back. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. They were saying that he had kind of small arms, but he like 6'5", 313, 14. They say they go move him inside the center, but I'm trying to ask the scout. Don't he think that's a little taller? Play center, shouldn't he probably play guard and? Maybe they'll keep Hainsley at center. I don't know. I'm trying to ask about the line on that.
Yeah. Good question. Good question. Go ahead, Leo. I mean, why do you move them from, outside? Why does Jason Light always draft guys that play tackle and move them inside? What is he looking at? Is it the short arms? Is it the fact that he's got great footwork in, those tight spaces? What is it? And why would they move Barton to inside at the center position, in your opinion?
To free up Hainsey to cover all 5 positions.
Okay.
That's huge, because now it allows the Bucs to play with one less offensive lineman because Hainsey can cover all 5 spots. That was the problem last year, because Hainsey was there. You had to dress another offensive lineman because Hainsey was starting.
Right.
He is more beneficial to the team as a backup because he can back up so many places.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so he could be like a swing. He could be like a swing offensive lineman.
Yeah, I think the thing you got to be excited about here is that Barton can play all 5 positions, and that's the scouting report. He can go out to tackle if you need him. He could go out to guard. He could play center. He could play all those positions, and that's exactly what the Bucs love about their offensive linemen. You look at Hansey, same thing. Played outside. Didn't he play tackle at Notre Dame? And they moved him inside. Luke Gedeke, same thing. Alex
y'all don't have no concern about his height being that big or so short? Y'all don't have no concern about that?
Do you have a concern about that? I mean, I think the reason why you get a Barton in the first place is because exactly what you mentioned. There were so many batted balls. I don't necessarily think that's about height. I think that's about penetration from a defensive lineman getting into Baker's face or clogging up those lanes. So if you got a guy at the point of attack with his physicality and athleticism, I think you can stop some of that stuff from happening like it did last year. You agree with that, Leo?
Well, you got to understand now, with the 3-step drop, that ball's coming out in a hurry. And a lot of the defensive linemen now are not rushing. They're just taking a step or two, watching the quarterback's eyes, and then just trying to get their hands up. Because, they're big guys. So, yeah, it's an occupation.
Let me ask you this: they can't cut block no more on those 3-step drops.
They can't cut block in the NFL anymore.
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. What do you think of Braswell here? What do you like this pick?
I was listening to the report you gave. You say he can't set the edge, so I was kind of agreeing, man. He might come in on a dime package or a nickel or something.
Yeah.
On third and long, or probably like second and long and make it third and long. Pass rushing down where we think he gonna throw the ball.
Well,
but,
he's only played with 1,200 snaps at this point, so he hasn't gotten a lot of reps. But once again, I like the fact that, he stayed put. He could have went to somewhere else. He could have gotten the transfer portal. He could have tried to gain playing time. But you know what? He sat there. He learned.
He bided his time till it was his time to play.
Correct.
And he did.
Correct. So we'll see.
Right, because like first down, they usually coming out at like 12 personnel, because that's a rundown. First down usually like a rundown. So
yes,
they probably won't even play them to like third down or something.
Correct.
Rush the pass. Yeah.
Second and long, third and long. That's when you see it.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we've been driving pretty good so far, man. We are concentrating on our needs and everything. It may not be the sexiest picks, but we're concentrating on our needs.
I think you hit it right on the head, right? I mean, offensive lineman drafting is not sexy. You're getting a center, but I tell you right now, you think about it, and Enos Rackstraw Jr. from Missouri just went off the board as the Lions double dip there. They went with Terrion Arnold from Alabama. Of course, they traded for Carlton Davis. That's the reason why the Bucs have that extra third-round pick. And now they went with Enos to the Detroit Lions. So they are definitely trying to beef up that back end. Say that 3 times. And that's what they've done here in the last couple nights here. Your thoughts on what the Bucs should do next here, my friend? What should be, because they got 2 third-round picks. Where are you going? Are you going with corner?
I'm going corner.
Okay. Corner. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And somebody says, George Wright said, sexy picks to me. I mean, look, if you get an anchor for the next 10 years, that's pretty sexy. And then on top of it,
I mean, like skill position.
Oh, yeah.
Like
No. I know what you mean, because I'm the same way. We all want the wide receiver and the running back and the quarterback and everything like that. But, at the end of it, it's always great to have an anchor. It's always great to improve your offensive line. It's always great to improve your pass protection.
Yeah. Football one in the trenches, man.
Yes.
Football one in the trenches.
Yes, absolutely. Use that second call if you want to, my friend. Appreciate it. As always, calling the Sports Web, all right?
All right, Bob.
All right, good stuff. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So there you go. Let's go out to these comments here. George Wright says 8 sacks. Give him 2 seasons to develop. But man, he's going to be a beast. Him and Yaya. Listen, we didn't know what to expect out of Yaya Diaby, and he definitely showed us something. And I still don't know how that player went to the 3rd round, but who knows? Maybe they know something. Again, I trust this organization. They know their players that they want. They know what fits and what's going to fit this defense and this defensive scheme. And I bet Jason Light and of course, Todd Bowles are happy about the pick, right?
No doubt. They're trusting their board.
Yep.
And that's important. Don't make a reach.
Yeah.
Don't just because it's a need. Again, there was an edge rusher there that probably was on their board, which is good.
Right.
Now, what do you do in the 3rd round? I think you got to address wide receiver. I think you got to address corner.
Right.
And again, if it's not that big of a reach, that's the thing. You can go 5, Peter. That's the key. If somebody's on your board at 40, you can go 40 to 45.
Yeah.
After that, it's a stretch. Peter, I'll tell you what. I'm going to have to come back on later for the 3rd round, but
okay.
I will be back on.
All right. Sounds good. Leo Haggerty, thanks a lot for your time. We'll see you in a little bit. Get something to drink. Get something to eat. I ate tonight. And by the way, I survived because I did eat those hot wings and I didn't have any acid reflux. So thank God.
Lovely. All right. Talk to you later, bud.
All right. Good stuff there. Open phone lines if you want to talk to me. We're expecting TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network to come on, give us his thoughts, but we would definitely want to hear from you. Let's go out to Curtis. Curtis, welcome to the Evolution. What about Chris Braswell, the edge rusher from the Alabama Crimson Tide? Your thoughts?
Anybody from Alabama is always pretty much a nice little pick.
Well coached, right, by Nick Saban?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not bad at all.
Absolutely. So I don't know, man. It's shaping up to be looking like a good thing. I mean, listen, I played on the defensive line when I played in high school. Mm-hmm. And, as long as you got a good defensive line, offensive line, you're going to have a pretty good team.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Well, what do you think about Barton at 26 last night?
Oh, man, I was excited.
Yeah?
Because, the only thing I didn't know is that's a big-ass dude.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty big.
Could you imagine him playing center? Like, you won't even see Baker behind this guy.
Well, 6'5", 313, a lot of people are worried about, batted balls. And I say, well, the reason why you draft a Barton is because you want that upgrade. You want that physicality. Yeah. You talk about him being very athletic. He could be the most athletic offensive lineman in this draft. And, how you stop all that stuff from happening with batted balls is you have more penetration than the defensive line, because we saw times last year where the defensive line took over games and it was bad for Baker and bad for this offense.
And they said he's got a mean streak like Jensen.
Well, you got to love that, right?
It'd be nice to have Jensen come in and tutor this kid.
I agree. Completely agree. Yes. And again, I will tell you this. I mean, what was the biggest loss for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? And I will still say the last couple of years, that attitude of Ryan Jensen, that physicality at the point of attack for Jensen.
Listen. Obviously a lot of people say Tom Brady.
Sure.
But you lose Marpet and Jensen next to each other.
Correct.
I'm talking about two all pros. These guys are all pros. No, I don't care what you say about them. Yeah. Both of those guys are all pros.
Yeah.
And then you lose them. I mean, come on, man. It's you can't lose all pro centers and guards.
No.
And expect your team to be anything what it used to be. So
I agree. I completely agree. And again, you get that attitude. You get that attitude back there. I love the fact that he was comparing him to Ali Marpet. And of course, Marpet retired at 28 because of concussions and things like that. And you can't play football forever if you're having severe concussions. And I think that's the reason also why the Bucs stayed away, and a lot of teams stayed away from Jackson Powers-Johnson, because there were their medical red flags out there about concussions and hamstring and already hip. And that's not going to work for an offensive lineman when you have to use your mobility.
Especially when you got to play 17 plus games.
Sure.
Yeah. And then I do have a question for you because I'm working.
Sure, go for it.
Who took the kid from who took the running back from Texas? Did he go yet?
He did. Brooks went to Carolina with the new coach, former offensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers, Dave Canales. Yes, Brooks went.
I would have loved to see him and Rashard White 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
That would have been really nice.
Yes.
But hey, you know what? We're building this team like we need to, and hopefully, people have more faith in us than they did.
That's it. All right, Curtis. Appreciate the call, man. I didn't see Ric Flair announcing the pick, so he's coming up there. So I'll give you the Ric Flair.
Woo!
Use that second call, and don't work too hard. Let me go back out to the phone lines here. Thanks a lot for the call. Let me go ahead and get out to it because I know there's a lot of people who want to call and talk Buccaneer football, and you're more than welcome. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. What's your name? Where you're calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Yeah, this is Trevor.
What's going on, Trevor?
It's going good, man. Just looking at the draft, running some errands. I'm loving what I'm seeing from management. All I know is I knew from the middle of really the beginning of the last season, I was like, my God, we have got to upgrade this offensive line. I was like, I wanted an offensive lineman in the first round since like September of last year.
Correct.
So I think, so I'm more than appreciative. I'm thrilled that Jason Light and the staff down there decided to go O-line first round. I'm really excited, man. We need some dogs in the trenches.
Well, he's a dog. It certainly seems like he's definitely a dog. I mean, everything you hear from Jason Light reminds him of Ali Marpet. That's not a bad thing because that was a Pro Bowl left guard, a very good left guard, and I think that's the reason why the offensive line suffered there for a couple years and still suffering. And then also he compared him to Ryan Jensen. If he has that Ryan Jensen attitude where he's ready to take somebody's head off. Of course, not pick up a flag. But if you want somebody that has that attitude, it's going to defend Baker Mayfield. And Baker Mayfield had to be excited about this pick, and even Jason Light mentioned it during the presser.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and think about it like this. I mean, I think the run game right off the top is going to be improved. And when you have a good run game, it helps the entire team. It takes the pressure off the quarterback. If there's a bad weather game, you can go to the run game, and if we run the ball effectively, it keeps our defense rested on the sideline. And I think honestly, had we had a great running game last year, I don't care what nobody said. We could have ran all the way to the damn Super Bowl last year. I think that was the only element that we were missing last year that we really, really needed, because it was hit or miss last year with the run game. Sometimes we ran the ball decent. We never ran the ball great.
Yeah.
We had decent rushing games. But had we had like that run game back in, like in 2020, towards the end of the season of 2020, when Leonard Fournette really got going and then that play action started working.
Correct.
And that's when we were like, okay, we're kicking everybody's ass now.
Well, that's what it's all about. It's taking the pressure off of your quarterback, of course, because if you limit those throws, then you don't have the turnovers. Not saying that, Baker, can't make this is not good with decision making, but you're exactly right. You make the defense account for it. And when you have that running game, it does open up your pass play action. And then, furthermore, when you can get that running game, you can start to run out the clock, especially if you have those leads. So you're exactly right. They were in the bottom of the league once again. They have not had a great running game. I guess, for the last 5 years, besides that postseason run by Lombardi Lenny there, playoff Lenny, who went for 300 yards. And how much of an impact was that? And he was a big part of the reason why they won, Super Bowl 55. But you absolutely need that. And what do? People want to go, well, I don't think White is the guy. Well, the reason why you don't think White is the guy is because you're not getting the penetration up front from your offensive line. So what do you do? Do you stick with the guys that you have, or do you upgrade? And the Bucs have told you, Jason Light has told you, that you upgrade that position. And I think it's the right position. People go, well, it's not the sexy pick. You could have had a wide receiver. You could have had a corner. You could have had somebody else. But you know what? The sexy pick isn't always the best pick. To me, I think it's pretty sexy to get an offensive lineman that's going to anchor your line for the next 10 years. It's going to improve that running game and protect your $100 million investment. Just saying.
You think about like this, okay? You look at all the dynasties in the past in the NFL. You look at the Dallas Cowboys in the early 90s.
Correct.
Great offensive line, right?
Yeah.
You even go back to the 85 Bears. They ran the ball. They played great defense, and they ran the ball. So, obviously, they had a great offensive line. You look at the greatest show on turf back in 99, Orlando Pace, Hall of Fame left tackle. You look at the Baltimore Ravens when they were running the ball really well. They had Jonathan Ogden. He's the first ballot Hall of Famer. So, to me, is this. When you have a great offensive line, you win a lot of games. And trust me, there's nothing more sexier than winning ball games. And for the guys that say, oh, it's not the sexy pick, we should go wide receiver, we should go corner. Listen, how about you watch some damn games and stop acting like a bunch of jackasses? Because obviously you haven't been watching the damn games, because you can obviously see we got Mike Evans on the outside. We got Chris Godwin on the outside. So I think we're good at wide receiver for at least another year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got Jamel Dean. We got McCullum. I like what he's done. And oh, by the way, we got a first-team All-Pro safety in our secondary. So please do me a favor and learn the game of football and watch the game before you sound like an idiot. That's just how I feel.
Thank you very much. Let the truth set you free. I tried to explain this last night on social media, and I kind of got into a debate. And look, I understand I don't know everything. I'm not right about everything, because I still believe that if there was an edge rusher on the board, they would have gone edge over an interior line. And I was wrong about that. We got Carolina has traded the pick to the New York Football Jets. So now the Jets are on the clock here. Of course, they took Fashanu, the Penn State offensive lineman. What are they thinking here? We'll see what they do, as we are at right now 65. Of course, the Bucs picking I'm trying to think of 89 and 92. Don't quote me on that, but I believe those are the numbers that we're watching. So we got a little bit a while, but you're exactly right, Trevor. I talked to somebody on social media and they go, why didn't you get the best center in the draft? And I said, you did. No, the best center in the draft is Jackson Powers Johnson. Oh, really? Because NFL scouts and teams just told you he wasn't, because that player slipped all the way to the second round. So trust in light, trust in that administration. The Bucs know exactly what they're doing. They've done it all throughout the offseason. They've done it the last 5 years. Just have faith. What else, Trevor?
Last, I'll say this: as far as pass rush, if we can get a steal in the draft, that would be great. But I'll say this though: do not underestimate that signing when we got Randy Gregory. Okay, I know like he's had some issues off the field, but when he is on the field, which I'm hoping he got his act together off the field, coming into this season, he is a very effective pass rusher. So him and Diaby, I think if they can stay on the field and stay healthy and collectively get after the quarterback, I like that combination. So don't underestimate that. And last thing I'll say is, in light we trust, and go Bucs.
Go Bucs, absolutely. Go Bucs.
All right, take care, Peter.
All right, man. Appreciate the call. Use that second call if you want to. All right, my friend?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good stuff there. Trevor from North Carolina. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Love the interaction. What do you think? Chris Braswell, edge rusher from Alabama. That is your second-round player. Graham Barton last night. Again, what do you think of those picks? Let's go back out to these comments and read these comments from you guys. JTS's days are numbered. George Wright says Chris is good at the run, stopping the run. George Wright says 8 sacks. It is Sean Tucker. Thank you very much, George. Appreciate that. Christopher Cole Tucker. George again. Barton is a jack of all trades, master at it all. He has a big brain and a strong motor, and his RAS score was 10.0 as a center. I mean, how do you go wrong with that? And it just kind of backs up the theory of what this organization is all about. High character guys, humble, at Duke, smart guy, athletically gifted, can play multiple positions, versatile. That's what they're looking for. So good stuff, George. Barton runs a 4.8 and can move. He's perfect at guard. Jensen is 6'4", but right now it looks like he's going to play center unless they decide to, move him in that situation. Let's go out to the phone lines. What's your name? Where you're calling from? You're on the Evolution.
Hey, this is Frank from Spring Hill, Florida.
What's going on, Frank? What do you think of the picks here so far the last 2 nights through the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Hey, they're pretty good, solid picks. I think I would go cornerback next. I really don't like Jamel Dean. He's always hurt, and he's always a liability. I would have even traded him before I would have traded Carlton Davis to me, but that's just my opinion.
Well, the reason why you trade Davis because the cap hit, but you're exactly right. You could have traded either one of them or both of them. I definitely don't think you want to start over from scratch, but you're exactly right with Dean. Inconsistent, can't stay on the field. We've seen him got beat last year against San Francisco. I thought he had his best game versus the Lions. So hopefully that momentum can carry over, but you're exactly right. And you're not sure about McCollum. You're just not sure if he's going to be a starter, but he's going to get every opportunity to do that. And I definitely think they may address this corner situation coming up here with the 2 third-round picks. You would think they would have to. Who do you have your eye on?
I'm not too sure because there's a lot of players still up there. So, anybody's the best available player at maybe that point in time.
Okay.
I'm not too sure who's still there though.
Okay. All right. Well, Malachi Corley just went to the Jets. So once again, getting Aaron Rodgers some weapons. That was another fan favorite for the Bucs. What do you think overall the Bucs have done here with Graham Barton being the first round pick and Chris Braswell now second round pick?
I trust in Jason Light, and that's always been the number one thing for me is that you got to follow your board, and I think those are solid picks, very solid.
I do too. I think not only are they fit the mold of what Todd Bowles and Jason Light want, but you also fill a need. You get a center that most likely is going to anchor your line possibly for the next 10 years. You get an upgrade. You improve your running game, hopefully. You improve your pass protection. You help out Baker Mayfield. We already heard how excited he was, how he called Jason Light. So I think it's a good deal. And then Braswell, for me, fills a need because you lose Shaq Barrett. You're exactly right. You have also, and I think the last caller said this, Randy Gregory, who's on 4 teams in 4 years, but we've seen he's got the potential. You just kind of wonder why he's not with the 49ers, but the Bucs see something. Todd Bowles sees something. They see the potential there. Remember, he could have been a first-round pick, so he's got the ability. I think all the off-the-field stuff is behind him, and I'm curious to see what he can contribute to this defensive unit. What else?
No, that's about it. You have a great night. Thanks for the show, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely use that second call if you want to.
Oh, yeah.
Frank right there. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Florida State running back Trey Benson off the board now, going to the Arizona Cardinals. So what about the Arizona Cardinals? You got Kyler Murray, of course, at the controls. You've got Trey Benson, tore his ACL, MCL in 2020 in Oregon. Definitely had a comeback there. Surprised he ran a 4.3. Is in that second round. And then you also added Marvin Harrison Jr., who could be the next Larry Fitzgerald. So they're trying to give Kyler Murray every opportunity there with putting weapons around him. Let's go out to the Tribal Troll.
Acknowledge me.
Let's go out to Roger.
That's right, acknowledge me.
What's going on, buddy?
Nothing. I don't know anything about any of these people in the second round. I'm still in a high from Caleb Williams and the Dunze going into my Bears. It sounds like Bucs make great picks.
Yeah.
It sound like home runs.
Well, they do, and I don't know why you're surprised by that, because Jason Light and the administration over there, they know what the hell they're doing, and the fan base just
give
needs
me
to.
the Jason Light crap.
Yeah, Jason Light. Jason Light definitely knows what he's doing.
He's not Ryan Poles.
He's better than Ryan Poles because he's actually won a Super Bowl at this point.
Wait till next year.
When you win a Super Bowl, you let me know, okay? Then you can come
acknowledge me.
No, you're coming to the neighborhood when you win a Super Bowl. Enough with Ryan Poles, but Poles has done a tremendous job here the last couple of years, especially this year, with what the Bears have gotten there. Your thoughts on the draft night 1 for the Bears? How excited are you?
I'm over the moon. I ordered my Caleb Williams jersey this morning at 10 o'clock.
How much did you pay for that, by the way?
$129 and free shipping.
There you go. $129 free shipping. Give you an update right now when it involves the Chicago teams. The White Sox are beating the Tampa Bay Rays 5-0.
Go Sox!
The friggin' White Sox are beating the Tampa Bay Rays. Oh,
they're the most historically bad team in MLB history.
Well, they're beating the Rays right now, so we'll see how that works out. What else, Roger?
I know you had a horrible day. Your show has been fabulous.
Thank you.
You've gotten great coverage.
Thank you.
And I told you that you would.
You did. You're actually absolutely right. I do sales for a living, and sometimes I want to take my head and bash it into a wall with some of the people that I talk to.
Hey, sometimes it's not a bad option. I've done it before.
Even the first caller, I thought the first caller was kind of messing with me, and I think he was trying to mess with me.
Was that the Salvatore guy?
Yeah, Salvatore. I don't know who that was.
Yeah, he's full of crap.
He's full of
the accent was fake. He's full of crap.
Well, I handled it just right. I not like today. I couldn't handle it today at all. It got to me. Definitely.
Should have just hung up.
Yeah. Well, I didn't. So there you go.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. So what else, Roger?
That's about it, man. Did the Bucs have any more picks in the second round, or you're not gonna cover the third round tonight, are you?
I am covering the third round. Yes, we are we are at
When's the next Bucs pick?
The next Bucs pick, let me look here, because we're expecting TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network to come on. I believe it is 89 and 92, but don't quote me on that.
How long is that? Like, are we talking like 3-4 hours?
No, we're talking maybe 30 to 45 minutes tops.
Okay, that's cool.
At this point.
I'll hang out for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hang out for that. We'll see.
You don't acknowledge TJ Reeves. You acknowledge the tribal troll.
All right. Let's go ahead and get, let's see here. Let me see where they're at. Okay. So they're at 89 and they're at 92.
Okay.
So I was right about that. So 89, 92. Okay. That's where they're at. I will acknowledge.
Acknowledge me.
And let's see who they get.
All right. Let's see who they get.
Go
Thanks
Bucs.
a lot.
Go Bears.
Go Bucs. There you go. Good stuff there. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Just had my co-host Harry the Greek send this to me, another scouting report on Braswell. Of course, Chris Braswell, the second-round player from Alabama, who the Bucs chose tonight, according to Chris Trapecio, had early round 2 grade on this outside rusher, length, methodical pass rushing moves, deceptive power, very productive, generating pressure to Alabama. Sets a sturdy edge, a need in the post-Shaq Barrett era, and he gives it an A+. So good stuff there. Let's go back out to these comments as we are covering the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What do you think of the 2 moves tonight? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Are you satisfied? I love the fact that, when I post something on Facebook, everybody's just like, I want to join in. Like, that's what it's all about here. Like, no opinion is wrong. We will disagree, but as I've always said on this show, we'll walk away as friends. But you can have an opinion that's not of mine, and I won't hold that against you. But if you're going to have that opinion, bring some facts, bring some stats, bring a reason of why you think that way. But the majority of that post, when, what did you think of the Graham Barton? I didn't see many people that hated it. A couple people wanted Kool-Aid, who went to the Saints, by the way. There you go. So we'll see Kool-Aid for 2 times a year. They wanted a corner, Cooper DeJean, to go in that direction. Let me see here as I'm producing on air. Let me see here. Hold on a sec. Are you live now? I'll come on after they make the 3rd round picks. We got more to talk about. Yes, I am live now, and that would be TJ Reeves. Okay. All right. So there you go. We are awaiting what the Bucs do here. We'll read those comments, but going back to it, I thought the reaction to it was pretty tremendous. Everybody was in agreement. They liked the pick. Not the sexiest pick, but the right pick to make. How many times did we see this offense struggle last year? Too many times. How many times did we see this running game struggle last year? Too many times. When is the last time the Bucs have been just a middle of the road rushing attack? It's been a while. Can you imagine if they were just a middle of the road rushing attack? Can you imagine? And how do you do that? You change running backs? No. You improve your offensive line. That's exactly what they did. All right, open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Want to go back out to these comments. I like this one. Barton is a jack of all trades, master at all. He has a big brain and a strong motor. I love that. I don't love a lazy player. Like, you can get a player that's so athletically gifted, but he doesn't want it. He doesn't love football. He doesn't have that constant motor. That's what you get in Barton. He has that constant motor. So good comment, George. Want to go back out to the scouting report here. Barton is a very stubborn blocker, once engaged with the contact balance and core strength to stay attached and pass initial contact. He's efficient on combo blocks, both beating, overtaking, and climbing to intersect the second level targets, which means you need that offensive lineman to be athletic because you want him to get to the second level. Why? Because once you get to that second level, White is off to the races. That's what you want. You want the opportunity to possibly have him get out there and use that speed. And if you need him to play guard, possibly pull. Possibly do some things with this running game that you didn't get a chance to see last year. And don't get me wrong, I'm excited about this offense coming through this year with Liam Cohen. Like, you're not going to have, that whole transition process where you've got a play caller that's never been able to call plays. Cohen has done that. He did that with the Rams. He did that at Kentucky. And I definitely think it's going to be an advantage to these players because it's the same type of offense that Canales was running last year. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So good stuff there, George. Appreciate the comments. Okay, good stuff there. George again. Barton is a perfect at center, absolutely. Sexy picks to me. That's a sexy pick. He improves your run game. He anchors your line for the next 10 years. That's sexy. I don't care what he looks like. I don't. Is he a big boy? Is he athletic enough? Is he smart enough? Is he going to be able to make the line calls? Is he going to be able to change it up when there's a blitz? Those are the important things. Will you have that chemistry with the Baker Mayfield? That's important. Absolutely. Let's go out to Rick. I love the first two picks. Both are needs, and they got amazing young men for both. Now I feel we need a defensive back. That's exactly where they may go. And right now we are at 69 for the Chargers, and the pick is in. They got Joe Alt in the first round there. And they also got tonight Ladd McConkey, wide receiver from Georgia. So Jim Harbaugh doing some work there. And there was a crazy story out there, and thanks a lot for the comment, Rick, that there was talk of them trading Justin Herbert to the Vikings and possibly the Patriots. They would have to take a $60 million cap hit. So, of course, that didn't happen. I don't know why you would do that. Of course, though, people would equate the reason why you're doing that is because Jim Harbaugh likes this guy, J.J. McCarthy, right? I like Justin Herbert. I do. All right, so we'll see what the Chargers do as the pick is in right now. Cooper Beebe or Peyton Wilson in the third. Beebe is a guard, and Wilson is a linebacker from North Carolina State. George, Light said he told White that he wants to get another running back as good as he is. Bull said he wants another running back round 3, running back or corner. And you've got the opportunity there with 89 and 92. That's why you have to be impressed with what Light did with trading Carlton Davis for that third round pick, because you're able to improve your team this year. L'Jarius Sneed, you get he's a pretty good corner. I would say he's definitely a better corner than Carlton Davis because he's able to stay on the field, right? Availability is the best ability. Correct? Did I say that right? But they didn't get a pick until next year. So what a coup for Light and the Bucs to get a third round pick to address those positions that they can. And could it be a running back? Could it be a corner? You double dip there. Could you go wide receiver depending on who's on the board at the end of the day? So good stuff, George. Thanks a lot for joining me here. Can't forget about Bryce Hall. Absolutely. You get him in free agency as a corner. You get the kid who is escaping me right now from the Texans. Could definitely be in the running for one of those corner spots. Round 4 hidden gem wide receiver. You know how we do it. Exactly. George Wright. Exactly. Okay. Thank you. Jim, Rondé? George, again, I can't remember the last time we had a two-headed monster in the backfield. Our team with a real game isn't fair. I think the last time the Bucs had a two-headed monster is right there. Mike Alstott and Warwick Dunn. And when was that? 1997. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I'm getting old. As you can see, the salt and pepper is growing in as Ruth the Truth on Instagram Live says Leo and Salt and Pepper Peter. Thanks a lot for tuning in on Instagram Live. Go ahead and follow that at pblake1003 as we go live on there. Go live here on Facebook. Thank God they got the profile worked out with StreamYard, but I am restricted for 6 days. So please share, please like, and please follow because I cannot share it anymore after the show until Wednesday night. So I may take a little break. You have to excuse me because I went 3.5 hours last night. It's looking like we may go another 2 to 3 hours tonight. So I went Wednesday, it was 3 hours. Thursday, 4 hours, and possibly another 3 hours coming up. So maybe I'll just take a break on Monday night. What do you say? We'll see. We'll see how I feel. We'll see if we can get that restriction from Facebook so we're able to share the show, because that's what we want to do. We want to put the visibility on this show. We want to give the Bucs fans an opportunity to talk. We want to give the Rays fans an opportunity to talk. We're definitely going to have a conversation tonight if they lose to the Chicago White Sox. You've got to be kidding me. The lowest of the low. What do the White Sox have this year? 3 wins? I know we're talking draft, but you got to be kidding me, right? I'm going all John McEnroe on you. Losing to the White Sox. Wow. Lightning. One more game. Can they pull it off? Can they beat the Panthers? Can they stay in this series? Because if not, you're done. You're swept if you can't beat the Panthers tomorrow afternoon at 5 o'clock. Disappointing times here in Tampa Bay sports besides the Bucs, I think. When do we pick in the third? Again, 89 and 92. You know, Tampa Bay moved up. I didn't see that. Let's see here. Tampa Bay up to 26 in the third round. Pick 89 and 92. Yes, 89 and 92. Gary, I like the second round pick. Again, if you do like the second round pick, or tell me what you like about the second round pick in a Chris Braswell. Tell me what you like about Graham Barton from last night. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. Let's go out to the Greek himself. White Sox are winning bottom of the 7th. 7-2 over the Rays. Don't worry, plenty of time to come back. It's awful. Wow, I can't believe the Greek picked the position for the Bucs and also predicted the players. Life is good. I mean, you know what you're talking about. That's the reason why you're a co-host on this show. That's the reason why we get you on here for 3.5 hours, 4 hours at a time, which I appreciate. I appreciate Harry the Greek. I appreciate Ray coming on. I appreciate JC Allen. I appreciate Andrew Fulbear, the big board, coming on. You know, and TJ Reeves tonight. And Roger Shue and Travis Faley. This is what makes the show. This is the reason why the show has lasted so long. You know, take a page out of Tony Dungy's playbook. I'm only as good as the people that I surround myself with. And I've definitely surrounded myself with some great people. Just saying. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. So going back to the Braswell pick, only about 1,200 snaps during his Alabama career, according to Pro Football Focus. Linear pass rusher, upright attack into contact. We'll need to find some counters to pair with his go-to move. So he's got to work on technique. So he's a little bit raw. Kind of like JTS, a little bit raw. Gets knocked off the grass fairly often when setting the edge and doesn't play with a typical take on technique seen from the tied edge defenders. So there you go. That is the story on Mr. Chris Braswell, the second round player. Give you some statistics here. 2020 redshirted, 2021 played in all 13 games as a reserve. 13 tackles, tackle for loss. Why did it just do that? Why did it slip? I hate the internet sometimes. Had a block kick, good on special teams. So not only you get a rotational player, but you also get somebody that's good on special teams. Not a bad thing to have, especially with this special teams unit not being necessarily the best. I mean, if you want to see something, I like to see them go after a punt returner or a kick returner and take advantage of this rule coming up this year in the National Football League. 2022 played in all 13 games as a reserve, 21 tackles, 4 tackles for loss with 2.5 sacks and a forced fumble. And 2023 led the team with 3 forced fumbles, played in all 14 games with 2 starts, 42 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, interception return for a touchdown, and a block kick, and a partridge in a pear tree, according to Chad Reeder. I just added that. I had to add that in there. I had to. So what do you think, Bucs fans? I like it. I like it so far. I like what this Bucs team has done. I told you. Have faith in this organization. Have faith in Jason Light. When will you learn? Everybody, the sky is falling because Jared Verse is off the board. I love Jared Verse, but he's a good player. There's a reason why he's not on the board. That's the reason why he's going to the Rams, which, by the way, again, the Rams doing a good job. You watch a lot of tape there. The reason why Jared Verse is so open or so able to get into that space, his running mate, Brandon Fisk, they drafted him tonight. There's a reason why. There's a reason why Chop Robinson, not a lot of production. He's not on the board for the Dolphins at 21. But why did they take him? Because the upside is immense. Leo Word. You run that 4-4. You can get after it. Maybe he could be the next Micah Parsons. So that edge rusher isn't on the board. Latu. Who thought that was going to happen? I mean, this whole draft has been amazing in itself. I told you I could talk about draft until the cows come home. I've been watching the draft since I was 8 years old. This is what I love to do. People out there love to party. People out there love to drink. People out there love to do some medicinal stuff. That's not me. This is what I love to do right here. Talk draft. That's it. This is Christmas right here. Of course, the anniversary of this show would come up during the draft. Of course. I still remember 2015 like it was yesterday. Who was the number one pick at the time? Jameis Winston. I mean, the excitement was like it in Chicago. The electricity was there. Why? Caleb Williams could be the franchise saving grace quarterback. I thought the Bears have done a better job than the Bucs back then. Let's just take that out of the whole equation. I mean, honestly, what the Bears have done to supply him with those 3 wide receivers and a running game and somewhat of a good offensive line, I think the offensive line will be good. I think it somewhat needs to be improved. It bears to watch. We got to watch that. We got to see what happens. But the excitement is there. It should be there. And that's when we started the show. And of course, it doesn't hurt that I'm biased and I'm a Florida State fan. Right? And you got Trey Benson that went to the Arizona Cardinals. All right, pick is in for the new coach. And it's hard to say this. I love Dave Canales. Met him. Had a conversation for about 20 minutes. The new head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Let's see what they do here as the 72nd pick is on the board. Linebacker Trevin Wallace out of Kentucky. So improving the defense. They address the wide receiving position with Xavier Legette from South Carolina. Jonathan Brooks, running back from Texas. So pretty good. Pretty good start there. But they're a young team. They're still probably going to be pretty bad. And it's going to depend on, the trends. I would say transition. I would say the progression of Bryce Young. What can he do in his second year? It's got to be better than the first year. I mean, that was god awful. Not good. But it's to be expected. Not every quarterback is CJ Stroud. Oh, wait a minute. He was on the board too. And the Panthers took Young from Alabama instead of CJ Stroud. And that's exactly what the Bears are banking on with Caleb Williams. They're hoping that he has that progression quickly. Like he hits the ground running with all the weapons that they provided him. Pick is in here, 73 Dallas Cowboys. Let's see what they do here. I don't know who is at the podium at this point. So we will see who it is. Their pick is in. I don't know if you guys heard, but Ric Flair is going to be making the pick. Cooper Beebe, guard from Kansas State. So that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to try to improve that offensive line. Because Tyron Smith moved on to the Jets. They drafted Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma. You'll probably move him to the left tackle spot. Was a right tackle in college. Move him to the left tackle. What do? You put a guard there. You got to protect your investment. And there's talk of Dak Prescott getting $60 to $70 million. I can't make this up. He's never won anything, and he's going to get that much money. And that's what you do. That's how you build an NFL team here. Cooper Beebe, a lot of Bucs fans wanted him in that pewter and red, but it's not going to happen. He's going to the Dallas Cowboys. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. WD-40. Yes, absolutely. Two-headed monster there. Braswell and Yaya on the edges. That is a dangerous combination. I love it. James Flash Ludeman, thanks a lot for the comment. So if you want to talk about the picks overall, 727-255-0391, 727-255-0391. Atlanta is on the board. They probably had there's no probably about it. They had the most shocking pick of this draft by far. Nothing against Michael Penix. I love Michael Penix. I told you he could be the best quarterback in this draft. When all is said and done, with Caleb Williams and Drake May and Jaden Daniels and even J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix. I feel like saying Bo Callahan. Bo knows. Bo Callahan from Draft Day. You know what I'm talking about, Draft Day with Kevin Costner. I want my picks in Putney, right? Penix Jr. may turn out to be the best quarterback in this draft. But was that the right selection for the Atlanta Falcons? What are we doing here? You have the opportunity to get an offensive tackle. You got Kirk Cousins, who's 35, 36 years old. He's coming off an ACL injury. I mean, what are you doing? Penix Jr. is 23. General manager comes out today, says, well, he may sit 4 or 5 years. Really? Going to sit him for 4 or 5 years? I mean, I don't get it. Somebody has to explain it to me besides the fact that Penix Jr. is a talented quarterback. Again, the opportunity to go out there and get an edge rusher in a Dallas Turner or a Latu. The opportunity to go out there and get an offensive lineman to protect your investment, as there's been a lot of teams that have done that, including your Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the pick of Graham Barton. But that's why they're the Atlanta Falcons. It never fails. I mean, they had a chance to get Justin Fields. Of course, it doesn't look good at the time. Who knows? Maybe it would have worked out better for him with the Atlanta. Probably not, because they don't put anything around anybody. And they're certainly showing they're going to put skill positions. You got questions at the offensive line spot for Kirk Cousins. What do? You don't draft an offensive lineman. No, we're too good for that. Let's draft his heir apparent. And then Cousins says, well, we had a conversation afterwards. Penix says, we had a conversation. I'd like to keep that to myself. I wonder what Kirk Cousins said to Michael Penix Jr. I wonder what that conversation was like. I wonder how Kirk Cousins was feeling. He probably doesn't feel anything. I mean, that guy has made more money over time than Tom Brady and has won one playoff game. You got to be kidding me.
This guy sucks.
Maybe that's too hard.
Shut up!
He doesn't suck. I mean, his agent, whomever he hired as an agent, he's definitely been stealing some money. With all that money he's made, but you got to think, when he was watching it last night, which the story is that he wasn't alerted until they were on the clock. That's classic. That's Atlanta Falcons being the Atlanta Falcons with Raheem Morris there and Fontenot. Unbelievable. All right. Yeah, dang. Exactly. Dang. All right. So 75 here. The Bears are on the clock. What do the Chicago Bears do? The excitement there in Chicago, as we talked about it with Caleb Williams, has been tremendous. I'm happy for them. I hope it works out. I'm not a Bears fan, but I got lots of friends that are Bears fans. And if they're miserable, I'm going to feel bad. I am. I'm going to definitely feel bad for them. So I definitely want to see them happy. We'll see how that works out because, once again, that organization has given every opportunity to Mr. Williams to be successful, to hit the ground running with the wide receivers, the plethora, not plethora, Tampa Bay Ray Kennedy, the plethora of weapons and wide receivers that they put around them. So 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's see here what the Bucs do here in the next couple of 10 picks. We'll have the great TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network coming on here. But I want to go out to these comments from Fontenot today talking about the pick of Michael Penix. And once again, Kirk Cousins, a 4-year, $180 million contract. People were like losing their mind, like Baker Mayfield signed for what he signed for. I get it's $100 million, but if you really look at the contract, it's like it's not even that much. I mean, I would take Baker Mayfield, who's younger, over a Kirk Cousins, who's older and coming off an injury. I'm just saying. But the $180 million contract contains $90 million fully guaranteed.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. And they draft a quarterback. Great job. When asked about that today in the post-draft press conference, Terry Fontenot, the general manager, explained it. During the draft broadcast, you could see the cameras appeared to catch general manager Terry Fontenot explaining the selection to owner Arthur Blank. Like, how does that happen? Is this how bad this organization really is? Like, the owner is not in on this? What is he doing? Who is he at? Home Depot? What is he doing? He's not in on this. And if you remember the joke, wasn't he? He was the creator of Home Depot, right? What is he at Home Depot? Is he getting stucco? What is he doing? You're going to need it. You're going to need something to fortify that offensive line. How is he not in on this decision? How is that possible? Was he getting plywood? Wow. Horrible. So the cameras catch that. It looks like Arthur Blank is in the dark at that point. Blank would be the key word because it looked like a blank expression was on his face. That's me saying that. In the post-draft press conference, Fontenot explained it to the media and Falcons fans. If you believe in a quarterback, you have to take him. Well, I thought the reason why you signed Kirk Cousins in the first place to the $180 million deal with $90 million guaranteed, that you believed in Cousins. So you believe in Cousins. You believe in Michael Penn. I mean, what are you, John Gruden? What are you getting, like 4 or 5 quarterbacks at a time? What's going on here? Yeah, you believe in the quarterback. If you believe in the quarterback, you have to take him. And if he sits for 4 or 5 years, so this is interesting in itself because he's 23 years old. He's 23 years old in May. So if he sits for 4 or 5 years, he's 28. I mean, he's already up there in age. You already have draft pundits saying, well, the reason why he's not draftable is because of, the multiple knee injuries and because of his age. So you're going to start him at 28? Really? You're going to miss out on all those possible prime years to learn? That's how the NFL works? I mean, does it work for everybody? Green Bay, they're looking, that's the standard. I hate to say that because I got lots of Bears fans out there looking right now saying, God, I hate you because you just said the Green Bay Packers. But I did. I said it. I mean, Brett Favre and then Aaron Rodgers and now Jordan Love. And they allow, Aaron Rodgers to sit for a couple years and develop. And you allow Jordan Love to sit there for a couple years and develop. But that doesn't always work. Sometimes you got to throw the quarterback in. He's 8th overall pick. You're going to sit him for 4 or 5 years? I don't know. I'm not buying that. If you believe that, I got oceanfront property in Arizona. Okay? Yeah. Nah. All right, that's a great problem to have because we're doing so well at the position. I guess you are. I mean, you signed the guy to a $180 million contract. You thought they were. So it's as simple as if you see a guy you believe in that position, you have to take him. Well, there you go. You took him. And that helps out everybody else. I mean, the run on quarterbacks was amazing. I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm going 6 for 6, and people are like, you're tipping the picks. I'm like, nope. I'm behind like you. I had it down. Like I told you, I do a sales job on Wednesday. You know what I do to avoid Gertrude and Esther and Winifred, who are about 195 years old. And nothing against old people. I love old people, right? But these old people, they're nasty, man. They are venomous. Bunch of venomous snakes. Like, they will take your head off. Like, right when you first get on the phone, it's 9:15. Like, you're feeling good at 9 o'clock. Of course, Wednesdays, I produce the JP Peterson show. So you get on at 12:30. Thank God. Because you get on during a regular morning, you're feeling good at 9 o'clock. You had your coffee. You had your donuts. Maybe your oatmeal. Maybe your bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich. You're feeling good about the day. 9:15 comes. Winifred is on the phone. Esther is on the phone. Gertrude is on the phone. And they're ready to take your head off. And you know what you do to take your mind off of it? You sit there and take notes. And that's what I was doing all day long. Because, baby, it's draft day. It's draft week. Sit down there and take notes. Do your mock draft in your head. Write down this. Write down that. Stats weren't great. But you know what? I didn't get upset. I wasn't looking to ask, Gertrude, who was 185 years old, what was World War I like? What was it like when you had to use your feet as brakes for your car? I didn't ask her that. I didn't. I probably would have been fired. I would have been. I'm just saying. So I kept my mind off of all that nonsense. So you go 6 for 6, and it's pretty simple. I mean, it's a quarterback league. No matter what you say, it is. I mean, but this was tremendous. You knew Caleb was going first overall, right? Or Jaden Daniels, how do you, if you're the Washington Commanders, how do you pass up on him? The talk was J.J. McCarthy. Like J.J. McCarthy, but I go back to what Brian Kelly said about Daniels and how, he's not only going to command that locker room, he's going to command that building. Like, that's what I need my quarterback to do. I need him to command everything. Like, he's the leader. He's the top guy. He's not only a rookie quarterback because he has all this pressure and all these expectations to win right away, which we know is not realistic, although CJ Stroud called and he said, what the hell are you talking about, Pete? Because I did it last year with the Houston Texans, right? So the expectations are there. You want that guy to command the locker room. You want that guy to command the building. Yeah. And then you go with Drake May with the New England Patriots. And then you go with the wide receiver, which I wasn't surprised by. And then J.J. McCarthy goes to the Minnesota Vikings, where Kirk Cousins was. Is that a good move? People say he could be a bust. I'm not sure. I'm not ready to rule that kid out. He's 20 years old. He's faced those adverse situations. That's what I want my franchise quarterback to do. That's why you got to love Baker Mayfield. You didn't know what to expect from him last year, coming in with 69 career starts. But what has he faced? Adverse situations. I talked to Jason Light a couple months ago, and I love the comment of the 1 to 10 prick scale. He's a 10, and he sits there and laughs about it. Says, thank you. I mean, that's what you want. You want your quarterback to be fiery. You want your quarterback to have that moxie. You want your quarterback to be gritty. You want your quarterback to stick his shoulder pad down and gain that extra yard on the 3rd down or 4th down, even though Todd Bowles doesn't want that to happen. He wants his quarterback to slide, but that quarterback wants to achieve it. That's what you want. That's why that team went where they went last year and were very close to being in the NFC Championship. They are a direct reflection of that quarterback. That's the reason why you draft a quarterback in the first place. You want him to handle that locker room. You want him to take control of that building. So that's the reason why you take a quarterback in the first place. That's the reason why there is a run. But Michael Penix at 8. I don't know. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. We are at 78 with the Houston Texans, who won the AFC South. CJ Stroud, DeMeco Ryans. Tremendous year for him as a rookie coach. I mean, just who expected that? I know I didn't. I definitely, because you don't see rookie quarterbacks that come into the league. You don't. You just don't. And I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. What's your name? Where you're calling from? You're on the Evolution.
It's Tim.
What's up, Tim?
All right, I'm down in Charlotte County.
All right, man. What do you think of these Bucs picks tonight?
I love them.
All right.
I completely trust the leadership of the team.
Okay.
And you were talking about Atlanta.
I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, everybody's saying the Atlanta Falcons could win the NFC South, and I say, look at the last couple years and what they do in the draft alone. I mean,
I've heard other shows where people are changing their opinion already.
Well, they should. How could you not? I mean, there's so many question marks with this team, namely the offensive line. And by the way, you put a chandelier of a quarterback and Cousins back there behind an offensive line that you're going to need to go to Home Depot and get some plywood to fortify or some stucco, right?
I think that Raheem Morris overstepped. And I think the general manager, acquiesced to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then now he had to go explain it to Arthur Blank, and that was a bad look.
It didn't look good on camera, didn't it? It looked like Arthur Blank was clearly blank in the face there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I pictured. I saw this on the internet, and I said, somebody's trying to clickbait. And then if you look truly at the picture, he looks completely blank.
Yeah.
You hired these guys. You didn't want Bill Belichick, which, I don't necessarily know if he would have been the guy to take the controls with what he's put out there for the Patriots, destroying their drafts. But damn, he would at least let the owner know what he was going to do, right? I mean, he was going to have full control.
I think they made a rash decision, and I think they're going to regret it at some point.
Yeah, they definitely
It's not a good way to. It's not a good way to run your business.
Yeah, it is not. It's definitely not. I mean, you got to report to your bosses. I mean, I got 2 or 3 of them. I got to always report. I'm sitting there doing my mock draft, and they go, are you distracted? I'm like, no, I'm right on top of that, Rose. I'm working here. I'm trying to work Gertrude and Winifred, but they're tough,
Gertrude's tough.
Gertrude is tough. Winifred is tough. They are as tough as a $2 steak, my friend. I make no mistake, and they're from Texas, so that's how they are tough as a $2 steak, because they're from Texas.
Correct.
So
correct.
Yes. All right. What else?
All right, man. Take care.
Oh, what about Graham Barton? What did you think about that pick?
I love it, man. We obviously needed it.
Okay.
I love the pick. I like he's from Duke. Above average intelligence. He looks like a tough guy too, man. So the pick was off the charts.
Sexy for you, right? It's a sexy pick, because a lot of people say that's not a sexy. To me, that's a sexy pick. I mean, you know what?
The right thing is sexy,
that's sexy.
So,
right?
Yes.
Doing the wrong thing sometimes is sexy too, but
Not much.
Right. But doing the probably doing the wrong thing is probably a sexy thing to everybody. I mean, that's the temptation out there.
That's fun at first, but
right.
It doesn't last.
Well, it doesn't last. That's it. But if you get a guy that maybe is not a sexy pick that can anchor your life for the next 10 years, damn it, that's a sexy pick. You don't need plywood or stucco to go to Home Depot and get your owner to buy that to fortify the line.
Right. Oh boy.
Yes.
Anyway, so I love the pick, man. It was awesome, and I hope the defensive end works out too. It said he played for Alabama for 4 years or whatever. So let's give it a ride and see what happens. I trust the Bucs the way they do their business now, and I'm sure it's going to work out.
Tim, how long you been a Bucs fan for?
Right when they were born. I'm from Tampa Bay.
Really? Wow. Okay.
I lived there before the Bucs were even a team.
All right. So. Do you remember 95? Tell me about 90, because I posted that also on social media this week. Was that the greatest draft they ever had?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because I was thinking about that, because I did see that, and I would say yes, because getting Brooks and Sapp was huge. Not just because they were such good football players, but they were determined to make this team to a championship team.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I think, and I was watching it because you're watching NFL Network. Like I said, I'm a draftnik, and you're watching Caught in the Draft, and you remember where you were. And I remember where I was when Philly makes that trade and Tampa Bay trades down, and you're hoping, because of the rumors, that Sapp is falling down, and the Eagles pass on them. The Jets, being idiotic, take the greatness of Kyle Brady that was never realized as the fans are booing. And then Minnesota takes Derrick, and there is Warren Sapp right there for the taking, who could be the best player in that draft at that time. He could have went top 5, top 3.
Oh, yeah.
And
absolutely.
And you just felt like, I know I felt like, because I was going to school at the time and I got picked on a lot. I always tell the story where I have the orange jacket on.
Oh, yeah.
And I get it burned. Somebody burns a hole in it. I get it eventually signed by Paul. I mean, I've been through this, man. I've been through it with this team. And you kind of like burnt hole, jacket and all. Your chest was out there. You felt good because you felt like things were turning around. You really did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. So.
Yeah. All right. Who do you want them to get at coming up here? Because we are at 80, so they'll be picking at 89. We got 9 more picks left.
Probably a corner would be good.
Okay.
To kind of replace the guy that left. If not, just the best available player. But I would probably say a corner would be good.
Okay. You go running back there or wide receiver?
I would say corner first, then maybe wide receiver. Because, Mike's getting older, and I don't know what the status is with Godwin.
With Godwin, because he's coming into a contract year here, Tim. So you're not sure a big-time major. And it's funny you mentioned that because I want you to stay on the phone. The Bengals just drafted Jermaine Burton from Alabama, I believe. And the reason why that is important at the end of the day is the rumor is that it's not a rumor. T. Higgins is asking for a trade. So now does that get done with that pick there? Boyd also, TJ Boyd moving on. So they had a need there for their wide receivers. So now is T. Higgins' days done? We shall see. Great call. Really quick, I want to ask you, how much does Mike Evans mean to you? How I don't know if you saw it in the current, which, by the way, I made an appearance on there. If you look really closely, it's like, where's Waldo? I'm right there with the gray, the salt and pepper look with the smile, grin to grin, if you watch it. But Mike Evans, his wife, how grateful are you for Evans being a Tampa Bay Buccaneer and being back in that uniform this year?
A ton, because not so much because of his play on the field, just really the guy that he's been.
Yeah.
Since the day that he's got here, he's been a tremendous representation of the team.
Right.
On top of being an outstanding, which is going to be a Hall of Fame player, but just the way he has never embarrassed the team or the area or himself or anything like that. The guy's always just done a really good job, been a quiet, much unlike a lot of other receivers.
Yes. Yeah.
So the guy's just been a first class all the way.
Class act and, great for the community. And then on top of it, I love the fact that his wife was the one that swayed him. And I think this is how the story goes. Hey, honey, I kind of like Tampa. You know, I don't want to go on a free agent. Let's just make it happen. And then Mike Evans calls Jason Light, and Jason's Light's like, all right, the light's on. Let's go ahead and get the deal done. And, of course, they get the deal done because a lot of Bucs fans saying, the sky is falling. Every year it's the whole thing. Like, the sky is falling. Mike Evans is gone. He's going to Kansas City. He's going to greener pastures there with Patrick Mahomes. And it's like, calm down, guys. Calm down. The Bucs know what they're doing. All right, my friend. Appreciate the call. Right. Use that second call if you like to. All right.
Okie doke, man. Take care.
All right. Take care right there. Open phone line 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I love this. And again, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do it. Yeah, because I talk about my job all the time and how much I don't like it. Love the people. Love the fact they're loyal to me. Love the fact that they love me. ELE. Everyone love everyone. If you know where that line's from, we could definitely be friends. Right? Well, I wasn't even thinking about going on tonight. And just, you get on here, you're reading comments, you're watching the draft, and there it is. There it is. There it is all over again. There's the love. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So we kind of touched upon this earlier on about the NFL extending the season to 18 games. Now, Roger Goodell was on the Pat McAfee show talking about this. He's going to move to an 18-game schedule, and we'll keep you abreast. I said abreast, not abreast, because I know Tampa Bay Rays out there, and he's trying to take it into the gutter. The situation right now, Seattle is on the clock. The pick is in for them at number 81. Of course, the Bucs pick at 89 and 92. I believe Ric Flair's coming out. Is he in Detroit, or are they doing some type of video? You know how much I'm a wrestling fan. But these people out there, they're just coming out there. You had Daryl Green. I mean, it's making a spectacle. And by the way, great job by the city of Detroit. 275,000. When people say the draft doesn't matter, why do you cover it? That's the reason why. I mean, honestly. Update here. Bad news if you're a Rays fan tonight. The god-awful White Sox beat the Tampa Bay Rays 9-4.
This guy sucks.
And by the way, Colin Poche went on the IL. Fans have thought he was on the IL all year long because he's been throwing beach balls and meatballs up there that have been getting completely devoured by hitters. And this bullpen right now has major problems. They lose to the White Sox tonight. The worst team in Major League Baseball. Congratulations. Tell them what they won. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
How about new?
2 more games to go. They have an opportunity to meatloaf it. Hopefully they do. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Let's go out to Christopher Cole. 8 picks to go. Absolutely, my friend. Let's go to Instagram Live. Nobody out there. I believe the greatness of Drew Felios is tuning in. We had Ruth the Truth, and now we got Drew Felios. So the Instagram is blowing up there. Of course, we're on Instagram. Not just Instagram Live, LinkedIn Live, WATB Sports with the over 19,000 followers on that Facebook page. So we're going to try to build that up as I'm taking over that. Of course, YouTube. The sports web there, and Twitter. Go follow me there too. Good stuff. All right, let's get back to it here. Roger Goodell was on with Pat McAfee talking about an 18-game schedule. And listen to this. Listen to how this is worded. And by the way, we're at 82 with the Cardinals. Let's see who they select first, and we'll get back to this Roger Goodell. Don Appoint is at the podium here. Tip Riemann, tight end from Illinois. Tip. That's his name. Tip. I didn't make that up. That's his name. Tip Riemann. So there you go. We're at 83 now, coming up to the Rams, who have done a bang-up job tonight. Jared Verse and Brandon Fisk. I would say they're definitely trying to rebuild that defensive line with the loss of Aaron Donald. Love it because they're Florida State guys, of course. All right, so keep track of what Goodell is going to say. Pay attention to what he's saying here. He says, I think we're good at 17 games now, but we're looking at how we continue. I'm not a fan of the preseason. Is anybody a fan of the preseason? Fans are not a fan of the preseason. Know why? Because they got to pay full price for preseason tickets. I mean, who wants to do that? Like the NFL. Like NFL, you need to come out and you need to have like half tickets for preseason. Because, half the time the players that you want to see are not playing. Play 1 or 2 series. And the reason why is, the most important thing about preseason is not to get anybody injured. So the fans shouldn't have to pay full price. That's my opinion. But he said, we don't like preseason. I like the money that you collect from the preseason tickets. That's interesting to say that. But he says, I'm not a fan of the preseason. I don't think we need preseason anymore. Whoa! I don't think we need preseason anymore. So is preseason gone? Can we now admit that preseason doesn't matter? I mean, that's always been, a sports talk show tradition on sports radio or sports television. Does preseason matter? Well, yeah, I got to get the reps in and the game times. And the commissioner of the league just said, preseason doesn't matter. Well, there you go. All right. He also goes on to say, I honestly think we'll be playing 16 games internationally if we go 10 years out. So he says, I think we're good at 17 games now, but we're looking at how we continue. So it's like, we're good at 17, but, we can make some more money. We'll go to 18. We'll go to 19. We'll have 16 international games. Rams take Blake Corum. I'll tell you right now, for a team that hasn't had a number one pick or draft picks in general, right? It's all about winning the Super Bowl, which they were the second team in their home stadium to win a Super Bowl. They have knocked it out of the park. Blake Corum, national championship running back out of Michigan, just gets selected at 83. So you get Jared Verse, Brandon Fisk, and now Blake Corum. Love that move. The Rams are definitely moving and shaking, and they're going to have to because San Francisco, by all accounts, at the end of the day, is the top team in that division, period. John Lynch has been able to build that team, although I'm kind of curious to see how that wide receiving position works out because talk was Deebo Samuel is on the trade block there, and of course Brandon Ayuk. So are you gonna trade one of those wide receivers? Remember, didn't they just pick up a wide receiver there for San Francisco? Well, that was Cincinnati. It's another wide receiver situation. I think they did draft a wide receiver though. I do. We'll have to check that out. But going back to Goodell, talking about it, the reaction we're getting from the fans every time we play in a new market is incredible. Talking about the international market. He says also the NFL will also be adding Spain to the rotation in 2025. Listen, it's okay to, if you want to go international, if you want to expand that. The only problem is you're taking that home game away from the fans. Like, I understand the ownership. They love to go over there in London. It's a great spectacle. Somebody told me the reason why you go international is because that ticket is going to sell out in 8 minutes, period. I mean, that's what it's about, money. But what it does is it basically takes away that home game that a lot of fans cherish. They want that home game. All right, let's go out to David Murphy here. Who do you want? Can't pass on TJ Tampa if he's still on the board, right? I mean, wouldn't that be funny if the Bucs go TJ Tampa? Is that in the cards at this point? I mean, how easy is that transition? I mean, you hope he's not like, Carlton Davis last year in the Houston game where he's getting burned. And you're like, damn it, TJ Tampa. Or it could turn out to, where he's making it TJ Tampa to the house. I mean, how does that sound? How is that transition? I mean, it could go both ways. It goes back to the sales job, right? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. But with the international thing, it takes away the home game away. It takes it away. And 84, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Roman Wilson, wide receiver from Michigan, national championship. So 2 Michigan players going back-to-back here in the 2024 NFL draft as we are in the 3rd round awaiting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 89 and 92. And then we will have the greatness of TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network. Just talking to you tonight. Purcell, you're exactly right. Ricky Purcell. It's been late. Purcell. There you go. Yes. So there you go. Is that foreshadowing of things to come? Do you trade one of those wide receivers now because you got Purcell from Florida? A lot of Gator fans out there loved him, wanted to see him in a Buccaneer uniform. Not going to happen. I love Bucs fans. Like, I know we do the same thing. Like, that guy would look good in a Bucs uniform. Why? Because he played for Florida State. That guy would look good in a Buccaneer uniform. Why? Because he played for the University of Miami. That guy would look good in a Buccaneer uniform. Why? Because he played at USF. Yes, I said USF. I'm excited about this season coming up. Pick is in for the Browns here at 85. Of course, now Jameis Winston, the backup, changing their offensive coordinator to Ken Dorsey. So we'll see how that works out. Deshaun Watson, largely disappointing. They had Joe Flacco come off the couch and take him to the playoffs. And, of course, I said playoffs. They lost to the Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud right there. All right, so we'll continue to read these comments from Roger Goodell. I think they're very interesting, and then we'll kind of dissect them. But he says the NFL will also be adding Spain to the rotation in 2025. The league is also planning on making a return to Mexico City, so the number of international locations will be shooting up soon. The reaction we're getting from the fans every time we play in a new market is incredible. So we'll continue to play in London. We'll continue to play in Germany. And I hope continue to play in Brazil. Well, Brazil, there you go. And the NFL is what? Opening up this year on a Friday night football, which is usually reserved for high school football. The NFL said, we go anytime we want. And you know what? They're right. They can. You can do it on Black Friday. You can do it on the opening week there in Brazil with, I believe it's, Philadelphia? Is it Philadelphia and Green Bay on that Friday? You open it up. He says also we'll be back in Mexico, but there are a lot of other markets that obviously we're going to go to. Spain next year. We've already planned that. That's the thing, like the reaction we're getting from the fans from those markets. But what about the reaction that you're getting from the home fans? Like if you're a Bucs fan, I get it. The team gets more money. It's a great thing to expand your brand because that's what it's all about internationally, expanding the brand for the National Football League, making that money. Good for that market of fans. But what is it for the home fans? Do they kind of feel left in the dark? Just saying. What do you think about this situation? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391 as I lose my train of thought there. We are at 85 waiting for the Browns to make their selection. Goodell was also asked on the Pat McAfee show on Friday if the NFL would look to expand the regular season after adding a 17th game in 2021, and the NFL commissioner gave an interesting response. If we got to 18-2, that's not an unreasonable thing. The only thing it does, Super Bowl Sunday ends up on a President's Day weekend, which is a 3-day weekend, which makes Sunday night, and then you have Monday off. Now, that part of it is genius because I know, just telling you about this whole diatribe of what the hell is he talking about tonight, because he's sitting on here on camera ranting and raving like a friggin' lunatic about his job, and people are like, well, you choose the job. I mean, how many people want to watch a Super Bowl on Sunday? And, like I said before, I talk draft, but some people out there like to party a little bit, and that's okay. It's okay to have a little celebration. Some people start earlier than others. That's also okay as long as it's in your house or you're taking an Uber. But how many people would like that opportunity to watch the Super Bowl on Sunday? You get absolutely tanked. I'm just saying what it is. The reality of the situation is more people than not are getting tanked on Super Bowl Sunday. Are they not? Come on, put it in there. Put it right in there right now. If you like to party on Super Bowl Sunday, if you like to party on Super Bowl weekend, you know what the worst part about Super Bowl Sunday is? The reality that not only do you have to go to your job, whether you like it or not, but football season's over with. So he's kind of correct on that. Like you have that day to kind of, sleep off that hangover a little bit. Realize that at that point, there is no more football. That a lot of football fans go into a deep depression because they realize the next day there is no football. At least you have that day to cushion the blow. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. I mean, it makes sense. That part of it makes sense. But the part that doesn't make sense is if you're all about safety of the league going forward, why would you extend it to 18 games? And does that mean more Thursday night games? Does that mean more games there on Peacock? Zach Zenter, by the way, guard of Michigan, just went to the Cleveland Browns. The young man had a major injury there. Who knows? He could have been a first-round guard, but there were questions. Now he's going in the third round to the Cleveland Browns. So once again, what is this about? Protecting your investment in Deshaun Watson, who has been clearly disappointing at the end of the day. All right, let's see. So we'll get back to the Goodell comments in a moment, but I want to read these comments because we're almost there to Tampa Bay as Philly is coming up here at 86. Are they doing a Friday Night Football all year? No, just for the opening day. But who knows? I mean, first, I want to know, and I want you guys to call me up on this. Are you okay with this idea of going 18 games a year? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Furthermore, are you okay with the President's Day? I like that idea, Super Bowl. Like, you got to wait a little bit longer for the Super Bowl. That's okay. You can do that. You know why? Because there's nothing else to watch. I mean, who cares? Grammys on, I think a couple. Yeah, who cares? I don't even know half the music these days. Like, some of the music just hurts my ears. It's Taylor Swift, Beyonce doing country now. Good for her, making all kinds of money. Who else? No idea. Mumble rap? No idea. I don't even know what they're saying. I don't know. It's like doing algebra for me at this point. I have no idea. I don't care about that. I don't care about the Pro Bowl. It's a waste of time. Flag football. And we'll get to the Guardian caps in a moment. Because a lot of people saying, well, this is the sign that the NFL is going to go to a more safety league. Well, it could be worse. They could have no helmet at all. So they're giving the option there. That to me is the hypocritical thing about this whole deal, right? So you're going 18 games, you got 2 preseason games, and then you say the Guardian cap is optional. We care about the safety of the league, but we're willing to extend the season. But you can wear the Guardian cap because it decreases the concussions. I don't know, man. 727-255-0391 and 727-255-0391. So to answer your question, James Chadwick, Chad Simpson. Peter, this Rays team is hot garbage. It's not looking good, man. My prediction of 95 wins right now is looking like this. Yeah, it ain't looking good. Lots of injuries, offense not hitting the ball. You lose to the Chicago freaking White Sox. What? How many wins they got this year? Was that a 4th win? Is that their 4th win of the season? They are a terrible team. I know somebody has to lose and win. I get that. But you can't lose to the Chicago White Sox now, how much early it is in the season. Awful. You know what the great part about that game was? It wasn't on Bally's. It was on Apple. Nobody knows where the hell that's at. Nobody has that streaming service. All right, going back to it. So he was talking about that, President's Day. What do you think of that altogether? And again, he says, I honestly think we'll be playing 16 games internationally if you go 10 years out. So, that's games away from the home fan. Let me take that comment up. Tim says 100. Thank you very much, Tim, for calling in. Christopher Cole, 18 games has got to have 2 bye weeks. You got to have 2 bye weeks, don't you? I mean, do you want 2 bye weeks? Does that change the season? Like, I understand you extended it in 2021. What's it do to the records? Good thing it's not baseball because this would not happen. I mean, we would be having this discussion about the home run race or the home run total for the year and say, it doesn't count. There's an asterisk by it because the season was longer than the original season. Football records are really not like that, but it's going to affect some things. The record in itself. You got used to 11-5. Now it's 11-6. Now what is it? Jeez. Changing everything up. 2 bye weeks is a must. Yes. Everything is changing right now. I get it. It's all about the money, changing it up. 11-6, 12-5. That goes by the wayside now. 12-6, 11-7. I don't know. It's crazy. He also says, will a franchise ever happen or a division? Maybe, but that's beyond 10 years. So, in the international market. So, will a franchise ever happen or a division? Maybe, but that's beyond 10 years. Can you imagine that? What is the travel like over there? How's that travel work out in 10 years? I don't know. But I like the president idea. I definitely like that. Again, you give the whole 3-day weekend. And that would probably be the time you take off. You take off on Friday. You start preparing for the Super Bowl on Sunday with all the partying and everything like that. Look, if it's in your town, you try to go to every event. For me, I went to not Super Bowl Sunday, Radio Row down in Miami in 2010. That was fun. Like if the Super Bowl comes here with all the events in Tampa, I'm going to every event. I'm making myself do it. I am going to enjoy the full experience. And that's what that does for you. That gives you the opportunity to do that. You're able to do that on Friday. You're able to do that on Saturday. If you do a little bit too much of it on Sunday, guess what? You got Monday to fall back on. You don't have to call in sick, which you're not. You're just sick at work or you got a hangover. You got that Monday off. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Cowboys on the clock right now at 87. So we are coming up on Tampa Bay here at number 89. Let's see who they pick. A gentleman in a wheelchair is making the selection. I'm reading lips right now, so I'll just have to go with you. I don't like too much dead air. So who do they select? Maurice LaFoe, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. So there you go. How about those Cowboys? Jerry Jones there. The whole contingent, of course, happy. I think it's the most overblown shot out there. Like, what are they supposed to do? I mean, is their owner supposed to have a blank look on his face like Arthur Blank did last night when Penix? No, it's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to be congratulating each other, hugging, getting excited, the fist pump. You saw Brad Holmes, who's a local guy, general manager of the Lions, how excited he was to get Terry and Arnold from Alabama. I mean, that's what you're supposed to see. But it's like, we've seen that before. Like, show me something different. Show me Arthur Blank or an owner with a blank look on his face. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Having some fun here talking. The pick is in for the Green Bay Packers. They selected Javon Bullard, the safety from Georgia. He was also a possibility for the Bucs. I think the Bucs are just really good at what they're doing at this point with Jordan Whitehead. I mean, that is such an under-the-radar move, and it solidifies that back end. It does. All right, let's see who Green Bay takes here at 88, and the Bucs are coming up here at 89 and 92. Who do the Green Bay Packers select? Marshawn Lloyd, running back out of USC. So there you go. Bucs fans, they wanted to go with a running back situation. Lloyd is off the board. Trey Benson is off the board. So there you go. As the Bucs are coming up right now, as we await. Let's go to Christopher Cole here. Teleporting. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't. He also talks about the streaming, because you know me, we like to stream here. We call this the evolution. What is it? A TV? Is it a radio show? It's both. It's both. It's a streaming show. It's not a bad thing. We have an advantage. We don't have to answer to a TV station. Shoot, I could sit here and talk all night long and not play any commercials. I'd like to have some advertisements. That'd be nice. That'd be nice to, give my throat a break here to play a commercial or two. We're working on it. You would think, after 8 years, we'd have some advertisements at this point or a venue set up. We'll get to it. So the Bucs are on the clock and the pick is in. So we'll see who it is. And that was Tavere Thomas, the corner from the Texans, also Breece Hall. So where do they go here? Do they go with a running back? Do they go with the corner? Could it be a corner here? Georgia safety, Tyke Smith. So there you go. And there was a guy here that mentioned this, and this would be Russ Lawson. I'll give him credit because he was Tyke Smith right there, safety out of Georgia. So what do you think right there? Another SEC player. They tabbed Braswell in the second round from Alabama, and now you've got Tyke Smith, 2023 second All-SEC. Looks like he's in the slot also. Could you use him as a third safety? You could definitely get very creative with him. 46 solo tackles, 2 sacks each the last 2 seasons here. So let's go out to David here. Good pick. I like the pick. I definitely like it because you get some depth there. Wow, look at him come off. Can you imagine Todd Bowles and what he's going to be able to do with him coming off the edge there? That's a creative chess piece. That's exactly what you're getting. You could have a 3 safety look, or you could have a guy that plays in that corner situation. Let me go ahead and see if I can find something on Mr. Tyke Smith. As again, give credit to where credit is due. Mr. Russ Lawson was talking about him. So let's go out to the profile here. Of course, out of Georgia, 5'10", 202 pounds. Let's see, 4.46 in the 40, which is impressive in itself. So the guy can run. You got to have that on this in a Todd Bowles defense. And again, showing the shot there. I didn't see Ric Flair. Where's Ric Flair at? I didn't see Ric Flair. Is Ric Flair coming out? Here we go. So you look at it. He was at West Virginia. He was also third-team Associated Press All-American Honorable Mention, All Big 12 Conference, played in 10 games in 2020, 9 starts. God, he's been playing forever, it seems like. 2019 West Virginia freshman All-American Honorable Mention, 8 starts, 53 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 1 return for a touchdown, 4 pass breakups. 2020 at West Virginia, played in 10 games, 9 starts, 61 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, 5 pass breakups. 2021 played in 1 game, broke his foot, and then tore his ACL in practice. So this may be a reason why he slipped to the 3rd round, but guy's running a 4.46. So and again, it takes 2-3 years to get over it. 4.46, I think he's gotten over it at this point. 2022, looking at those numbers, started 4 of 14 games, played for the national champions, 28 tackles. Once again, Jason Light and the administration, they're getting guys that have that championship pedigree. That is so important. That's what the Bucs are right now. High character guys at big time programs and the SEC. Hate to say it, love the ACC with Florida State, but we all know where you play football, where you play big boy football, and that's the SEC. So 28 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. 2023 second team All SEC, led the team with 70 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, started all 14 games, 2 sacks, 4 interceptions, 2 pass breakups. Let's go out to this guy right here.
Damn it, Jim, what the hell's the matter with you?
Jim, your thoughts on the pick here. Tyke Smith, safety out of Georgia.
What was it, 5'10", 202 pounds?
Yeah.
So he fast.
Yeah, he's fast. He's definitely fast. And here's a guy who suffered an ACL. There's no effects to that if you're running a 4.46. Pretty fast there.
Right, is that what he got in that Columbine 4.46?
Yeah, 4.46. Yes, sir.
All right, yeah, okay, we getting together.
You like that, huh? You ready to party? You ready to celebrate like it's a Super Bowl weekend? Yeah, you ready? All right.
It's plug and play.
That's it. Damn it, Jim. That's exactly right. You're exactly right. And you could use him. I think, you look at the highlights, and again, I'm not going to act like I've seen the guy play football. Have I watched some Georgia games? Yes. Again, look at the numbers. You led the team in tackles. I mean, that's big. That is huge.
What did Georgia finish this year?
Well, they were undefeated, and then they lose, of course, to Alabama in the SEC champion.
You're right, because I was watching Florida State.
Yeah.
And it was between me and us and them for a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, we played Georgia. That's right.
Yep, that is correct, and got your doors blown off. Don't remind me. You had to pick at that scab, didn't you? You had to pick at that scab, didn't you? You had to pick at it.
Hey, I'm mad about it too. Maybe not watch college football.
Well, listen, he may be mad about it too. He may be coming in here as a man possessed. He certainly looks like he's a man possessed at this point. You look at the numbers. I mean, again, 70 tackles, 8 tackles for loss. So you can play him in the box. You can play him blitz. So to me, it's looking like a chess piece at the end of the day.
Hey, you looking like a Tampa 2 player. Uh-oh.
Well, 2 sacks, 4 interceptions, and 2 pass breakups, and once again a partridge in a pear tree. So I like the pick. I like the pick by the Bucs. Yes.
We got a little Randy Barber coming back. We get somebody who can get these picks.
Oh, those are. Let's go. Let's stay in reality here, Jim.
Let's stay in reality.
Could he be the next Antoine Winfield Jr.? Let's say that.
Okay,
let's stay there.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I just used another line from draft day, by the way. That was pretty good. I hope you caught that. That was good. Let's stay in reality here. Yes. Yeah.
I hear you.
Hopefully it could be Rondé Barber. I think every back end player you think would turn into Rondé Barber.
Antoine Winfield Jr. He out here balling his ball.
I would take Antoine Winfield Jr. You know what I wouldn't take, guys? I would take the haters out there, especially the players not voting him in the Pro Bowl, which have been it's a worthless game in the first place because it's flag football. Nobody wants to watch flag. I'd rather watch players put on a Guardian cap if it decreases concussions more than watching flag football. I guess that's the alternative. Hopefully it's not here in the coming years.
Yeah, I think the players don't care about it right now anyway, unless they change something.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. It's optional.
Get a little vacation.
Yeah.
Well, it's in America now. They don't even take it to Hawaii no more.
Yeah. Well, we got the Packers on the board here. So we'll see what they do. And then after that, Tampa Bay picking again. They could go. Did they go TJ Tampa? Because I think that would be a popular pick by the Bucs. So we'll get ready for that.
We got another pick. Okay.
Yeah, you got another pick here. So you like the pick? Let me ask you really quick because you got the Packers on the board. What would you think about the NFL extending the season to 18 games with 2 preseason?
You said what kind of preseason?
18 games.
18 games?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as the players don't care, I wouldn't mind it. You know, fans don't mind it, but as long as the players say, "Hey, we cool with it."
Yeah. Well, it's the safety issue there. I think again it's hypocritical, and then again I like the extending of the President's Day, if you will, of the Super Bowl. You like that 3-day weekend with the Super Bowl Sunday?
Yeah.
Are you a partier? Do you party on that weekend? Oh, of course you do.
Yeah, I go to Super Bowl party.
Of course you do. And you don't want to go to work the next day. You know why? Because not only are you hungover, but the reality sets in that football season is over with. So Goodell on that one is correct. All right.
They got Mississippi.
Jim, the Buccaneer pick is in. Stand by here. Curtis, we're going to put you on hold. We're going to come out to Jim. And we got the pick. The pick is in. And let me go ahead and see who it is. I'm going to tip it right now. It is Washington wide receiver Jalen McMillan. So the Bucs do not go corner here. They go with the wide receiver from Washington. So what do you think about that one?
Jalen
McMillan. There you go. Out of Washington.
What does he weigh and stuff?
Well, I'm going right now to all that. I'm getting that right now as we speak. I'm producing. Well, I'm getting ready to do it. 6'1". Let's see. Here you go. Here's the measurables. Curtis, I know you're on the line. We'll get out to you in a moment. 6'1", 197. His 40 time is 4.47. So he is another burner. You can see him breaking the defense up there. Statistics wise, let's go to the 2022 honorable mention All Pac-12 Conference. Led the team 79 receptions, 1,098 receiving yards, 13 per catch, 9 receiving touchdowns. Played in all 13 games with 7 starts. Also in 2023, played in 11 games, 7 starts. Numbers kind of went down just a little bit. 45 for 559 there, 12.4 a catch, 5 touchdowns receiving. Missed some time with a knee injury, which may be the reason why he is there in the 3rd round. So your thoughts about it, and then we'll get out to Curtis.
We're looking for another student wide receiver, so.
Yeah, there you go.
It's good picks.
Well, look, and I think people look at it and they go, you go with corner, but obviously they see something, they want to upgrade. I think they're still high on Trey Palmer. I think they're still high on Chris Godwin. But let's face it, Mike Evans is getting up there in age. You're also Chris Godwin coming into a contract year. You're not sure about Trey Palmer because he is somewhat inconsistent, but he does have the speed. He has shown flashes of brilliance. Devin Tompkins, Raheem Jarrett there. So there are, some guys, but maybe the Bucs just think they're guys at this point. So I'm willing to let this play out.
In the wide receiver room.
That's it.
For that third position, for that third wide receiver.
That's it. Good stuff, Jim. All right. Appreciate the call, my friend. Let's move on here. Let's go out to Curtis. Your thoughts on the Bucs night here. Of course, Chris Braswell in the second round. And now they go with two selections. They go with the wide receiver there. What do you think of that wide receiving pick? You like it?
Who did we take?
Well, you took Jalen McMillan first, and I'm trying to think of who you took the second one here because we're just talking about it. So Braswell and McMillan at wide receiver, and then you took God, I just had it. Wow, I just need to write this stuff down. I need to do what J.P. Peterson told me to do, which is write stuff down.
You're not getting old on me, are you, Pete?
Oh my God, man. Okay, let me hold on a sec here. Hold on. Where is it at? Oh, Tyke Smith. Tyke Smith, the safety, right there from Georgia. So there you go.
I was going to say, that name sounds so familiar.
Yeah, Tyke Smith led the Georgia Bulldogs in tackles. So, yes.
So, what's your all-around opinion on this Buccaneers draft so far?
I love it. I love everything they've done. I love the fact that they've gotten better at both sides of the ball, especially with Graham Barton, anchoring your center position. So that improves your running game, that protects your investment in Baker Mayfield. I like the fact you get with a Braswell, who has lots of potential there, hasn't had a lot of reps, somewhat raw, but has the speed, has the athleticism where you can use him on the edge. I like Tyke Smith. I'm
going to say this real quick, and I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay.
The last guy we saw that was a top pick for Alabama that wasn't very productive was Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, well, I can think of one for the Bucs, and a lot of this would be way back. That'd be Mark Barron in 2012.
You know what? Very underrated player. I was a little sad that he got traded.
Oh, you were? Okay. Well, then he switched out to linebackers, but I'm tending to believe that maybe they found another diamond in the rough because everything you see here, even Harry sent me this this breakdown. It was an A+. So, they filled the need. We talked about it, the edge. I felt like if edge were there over an offensive lineman, they would have taken the edge. But they went with edge in the second round. Makes sense. And they go with the safety, and then they go with the wide receiver. So I don't see how you hate that. I don't.
Well, what I love about Jason Light is Jason Light goes and finds these guys, and you don't know much about them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, holy shit, how did they let this guy slip?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
completely correct.
Draft's not over with, though.
Well,
the draft's not over,
It's not over because you got another day tomorrow. We'll see. We'll be on air. I may take a break. I can't really do anything tomorrow because I can't share to anything. So,
well, you know what? Here's the thing. How many times have teams found diamonds in the rough on the third day?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what you're looking forward to. Yeah, you're absolutely correct about that. As I'm producing on air as we speak, I'm about to get TJ Reeves on here of the Buccaneer Radio Network. We're about to have a great conversation. So all in all, what are your thoughts on what the Bucs have done tonight and for the whole draft?
Well, you know what? As a whole, I'm gonna just say this: that last, and I'm gonna go back a little bit. That last Brady year, we all weren't sold on Todd Bowles.
Right.
I think we're sold on Todd Bowles now.
I think you got to be sold on Todd Bowles. This is Todd Bowles' team. I think this is Todd Bowles' team when you go into Green Bay. This is Todd Bowles' team when you beat Atlanta with the fourth quarter comeback there. I get it. Baker had his worst game, but he's able to overcome it. I love the fact that the Glazers embrace him.
That defense he put on the field against Philly in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
My God.
Pretty good, right? Pretty good. Like to see that effort again. You like to see more of that against the Lions.
Well, you know what? Nobody expected us to be there.
Yeah.
And, we made some mistakes in that game. And hopefully the picks that we made tonight will help us be better than we were in that game.
Well, and that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to get young players there, an infusion of talent. I always love that word, the infusion of talent, because you still do have talent in those two building blocks that we continue to talk about, Yaya Diaby and Kalijah Kancey. But you hope Braswell can definitely add
I love Yaya.
I love Yaya too. I love
Yaya.
Yeah. All right. About to have TJ Reeves. I appreciate you as always. Curtis, anything else?
No. Go Bucs.
All right, man. Go Bucs. Absolutely. All right. So we're awaiting TJ Reeves. We'll get him on there. Sent the link out. Good pick, says David Murphy. Okay. Let's go out to Donald. There's a lot of top-rated guys from Oregon still on the board. Jalen Wright next, please. Rashad White's twin. Sounds like a ball hawk. Definitely sounds like a ball hawk being Tyke Smith. TJ Tampa time. Not so fast. Bulls loves 3 safety packages. Exactly. Tim, wide receiver. David, I'm done. Wide receiver pick here is stupid. Dave would have liked to have a cornerback or a linebacker here, but I trust Light. Exactly. Wide receiver wasn't a weakness last year. Obviously, they think it was. And then let's go out to Christopher Cole, rounds 4 to 7. Light's happy place. And Christopher again. David, you got to draft for the future. That is correct. Let's go out to the media icon, the man, myth, the legend, the human lottery ticket in my household, Mr. TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network on the second night of the NFL Draft on the Evolution of Sports Talk Television. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
All right, so I've been pledging to come on with you after the picks were made. It took a while, Buccaneer fans, but they finally made the 2 third-round picks. How long have you been going? Like 3 hours? What time did you start tonight? I have not been keeping up with your start time.
We are at 2:37 right now.
All right.
We're not as much well, Wednesday night, we did the fan mock draft. I went about 3 hours and 38 minutes, commercial free. Last night, I went 4 hours, did not eat my chicken wings until late. And I said, everybody, please bless my soul here because I have acid reflux. I took the chance. I'm okay. And tonight, I think we may get to 3 hours also.
Get you some Tums, get you some Pepsid. You know, you shouldn't have an upset stomach right now over this Buccaneer draft. You like my segue? You feeling me here?
That's why you're professional.
I see some needs being filled by this team, and I cannot say that I'm surprised. Of course, let's just say this. Virtually every team believes they've really helped themselves in this process. Certainly by night 2, they believe they've helped themselves in at least in the second and the third round, if not the first, the second, and the third round. Not everybody had a first-round pick last night. That's my point. So I get that. But if you're a Buccaneer fan and you went into this draft saying interior offensive lineman help, Peter Blake, check. Pass rushing help, check. If you said defensive back or secondary help, now check, late in the third round. And now you can kind of discuss, and I'm sure we will, was this a need or was this a luxury with McMillan, the receiver from Washington, that seems to kind of maybe be a little bit of a luxury pick? Let's add some depth. Let's add a slot receiver. Maybe not as big a need as maybe a couple of other positions, but they obviously felt that guy was too good to pass up, and we'll talk more about him in a little bit. And no coincidence here that on night 2, you go to Alabama and Georgia, SEC schools, for a defensive player. And what is it with Jason Light and his staff and the University of Washington? Peter, have you illuminated the theme? Vita Vea, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Cade Otton, now Jalen McMillan. Where'd they all play college football? Seattle, University of Washington. The pipeline from the UW to Tampa Bay continues, my friend.
It does, and that's why a lot of people thought that they may go for a lot, too, if he was there. But, of course, he was the first defensive player off the board to the Colts. I tell you right now, let's go out to my tag team partner of the world, Powers on Sports podcast. Also, we do a great podcast called the No Quarter Given podcast with the great Paul Stewart of BuckPower.com. Jason Powers, my tag team partner of the world. You would know something a little bit about the SEC. What are your thoughts on the Bucs picks tonight? Welcome to the Evolution.
What's going on, fellas? How we doing?
Doing great, man. The whole Three Musketeers are back together again. I got.
I know. I'm texting Powers. We're in communication. I'm texting you, and I'm like, Did you get the link to the sports web? Peter's still going. He's like, no, get me the link. Here we are, brother. Friday night lights, Friday night draft. We're here for you. So, Brother Powers, I just said before you came on, if you didn't hear it, SEC defensive players with Braswell, the pass rusher from Alabama, and Tyke Smith, the defensive back from Georgia. That's not a coincidence. It's the best league. We know this in all of college football. And so what are your thoughts on what we're talking about there with that?
And here's another little tidbit to remember about the SEC in Georgia. Where does Todd Bowles' son play now? Georgia.
Yep.
He's got some, so I'm sure he gets some extra intel from those guys and that coaching staff and all that stuff on these guys. And I will say, I think Peter and I actually might have mentioned on the podcast that we did No Quarter Given. I think we mentioned Jalen McMillan as a possibility mid-round as a wide receiver. So I think we mentioned him. And when the list came up before the Bucs picked, only I can verify this because I was in my house. I said that Mel Kiper listed his top 5 best available, and number 5 was Jalen McMillan. And I said he's the pick. So
I love it. I like it.
I believe you. I believe you. I'm
being honest with the fans, being honest.
Well, here's the guy who had the prediction right at the first place. And again, I'm going to promote it and plug it because I'm all about it. BuckPower.com. If you want a Bucs podcast out there to listen to yours truly, because if you didn't get enough of that, you can listen to me on a podcast, right? You got Jason Powers here. He had the prediction. He said 9 wins, and he was exactly correct. I had 10. They should have beat Houston, but that's neither here nor there. That's where you go. No quarter given. But I go to Braswell here, TJ. You see him, not a lot of reps there, but lots of potential. We didn't know what to expect from Yaya Diaby last year coming out of the round. Maybe it's the same type of deal here with this kid Braswell.
And again, the name Alabama is a brand name, and they have had so many defensive players drafted, including high draft picks off of that defense under Nick Saban. So that's not a coincidence. I reached out to one of my Alabama moles, and he said this guy is a player. Braswell, not the most massive guy, but he kind of fits that 3-4 outside linebacker role that they're looking for here for Todd Bowles. What do we keep saying? Jason, I keep preaching this. Peter, I keep preaching this. You cannot have enough edge rushers, enough pass rushers, enough depth because it's a long season. Injuries happen. You got to rotate guys in and out anyway. So I love that selection just from it. It fills a need, and it comes from an SEC powerhouse school. And it's no coincidence. I heard Joel Klatt saying this about Tyke Smith. I mean, Peter, I know you've been doing a great job on the fly. You haven't been able to hear a lot of the analysis. But Joel Klatt was saying about Tyke Smith, hey, when you play for Kirby Smart in the secondary at Georgia, you know how to play combination coverages where you might be in man in a certain look, and then they might check to you being in a zone in the same scheme suddenly on the check. There are no, essentially paraphrasing him, he said, there are no dumb players that are playing in that secondary. You have to have wits about you. You have to have film study about you if you're going to play in Kirby Smart's defense. So Tyke Smith may not be a household name necessarily. Second team all SEC this past year, 4 interceptions, had some plays off the edge, had a couple of sacks off the edge. Very interesting pick in the 3rd round with that guy. Jason, any thoughts on that guy?
Yeah, as soon as they made the pick, I flipped over to the ABC coverage, which had Nick Saban on there because I wanted to hear Nick Saban's analysis. And he said, "Good is a really good stand-up 3-4 linebacker, which is I'm sure what Todd will use him as. Very good pass rusher. They showed his long arms. Again, that's a trait that outside linebackers and pass rushers like to have are long arms. So." Again, wasn't the flashiest guy probably from a stats perspective, but a solid player. If you can get, again, rotational, whether it's him, Diaby, Anthony Nelson, all those guys, if you can find one of those guys to be a big-time pass rusher, then you've done your job.
And I'm not ready to give up on Randy Gregory because I think, Todd Bowles sees him and says, he's got the potential. We know about the off the field, but he's much more mature now. Even though he's been on 4 teams in 4 years, maybe they see something in him where that defense, he can get some, he can light a fire under him and make him, something different because Todd Bowles will do that. He'll be very creative when it comes to defense. We got the media icon here, Mr. TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network. I call him the human lottery ticket, and I got to go out to this comment because I love this. Because TJ Reeves is the real deal. As a kid, TJ would school the adults on sports. Murphy Clan. And I will say this, the reason why I say he's the media icon, our first meeting was actually on radio. I'm trying not to make you feel old here, but I was about 16, 17 years old, 820 the team. It's during March Madness.
Right.
I'm doing the update, and I win tickets to the Legends game. Now, at the time, I got George Foster. If he wins the home run derby contest, I get all expense paid tickets to the All-Star game in Texas in 1995. Plane ticket, tickets to the game. My first baseball game was an All-Star game because of the great TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network. And, of course, Jason Powers, my tag team partner of the world. Powers on Sports Podcast.
You always tell this story. You really didn't know who George Foster was, but you knew after that night, the former home run hitter for the Cincinnati Reds and the Mets. And you had not only never been to a Major League Baseball game, you'd never been on an airplane. Am I correct? And you flew all expenses to Arlington, Texas for your first Major League Baseball game to be the All-Star game.
Yes.
That's an incredible story.
It is an incredible story, and that's how we met. And then 30 years later, we met in the press box, and I said, I remember you. And he says, how? And I said, because I'm the guy that won the tickets. And you're exactly right. Going to Texas, it was fine. Coming back, not
a little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, not good at all. Air sickness. So going back to Graham Barton here, Jason, what did you think of that pick at 26? To me, I still contend if they had an edge rusher there, you take them. But interior line could possibly be the best offensive lineman, the most athletic offensive lineman. We know that Jason Light loves those versatile offensive linemen, and he could probably play all 5 positions. What did you think of that pick last night, Jason?
No, just the perfect match of need versus and quality player. I mean, very good. I mean, everybody had him in the top 20 or 25 guys in the draft. He fits a need. You heard Todd Bowles and Jason Light today talk about the bulk. They needed to bulk up in the middle there to help keep Baker, give him a little bit better opportunity to thrive in the pocket. So perfect fit there. This was not an elite pass rusher draft, so I'm glad the Bucs did not reach for one of those guys in the first round. There was not any other than Latu, and obviously he had the issues and was going to get picked before the Bucs anyway, most likely. So I think it was a perfect fit of need and value in the spot of the draft. So kudos to the staff for doing that.
And I'll add to that, he's a Duke guy. You don't accidentally. I mean, that's the home of Fortune 500 CEOs and astronauts. That's who's at Duke, where Graham Barton was, and very interesting. I have friends and relatives in the Nashville area, where Brentwood, Tennessee is, where Barton is from, and it's fascinating what that story is. That he's now a Buccaneer, and the only thing. They obviously have done their diligence. He played left tackle basically the last 2 seasons. Right. So he's a center from a couple of years ago. They did their diligence. He talked about snapping a bunch, I guess, at the Senior Bowl and some of the other workouts where he was. But it's fascinating that he was primarily their left tackle and a really good left tackle at Duke.
In worst case scenario, he could play left guard. If some reason something happened and we needed him to play guard instead of center, he could easily slide into guard. I think and you mentioned that you made a great point, TJ. He's an intelligent guy. Same with Braswell. Say what you want about Braswell in Alabama. That's a complicated defense, and I don't care what position you're playing. You got to know what you're doing. You got to know how to read, formations and blocking schemes and all that in order to play for Nick Saban. And a guy like that started. I know, TJ, you did several of their games the last couple of years. That's a very complicated defense, which Todd Bowles' defense is very complicated as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, you can't go wrong with SEC players. And that's kind of been a theme of Jason Light when you look at drafting Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean and Devin White. Where did they all play? Southeastern Conference. Now you go get a couple more of them. And back to the receiver. Interesting that a year ago in the late rounds, they got Trey Palmer, who had been at LSU and had been at Nebraska as a speed guy, kind of a slot guy, but could also go deep. Here's a little more on Jalen McMillan. Had some injuries in the 2023 season, missed some games with a knee injury, but he came on strong, had a touchdown in the Pac-12 title game, the revenge game with Oregon, had a touchdown in the Sugar Bowl win over Texas, and he had a touchdown in the title game loss to Michigan. So for whatever it's worth, as the slot receiver, McMillan delivered in their biggest games down the stretch of the season, catching the ball from whom? Michael Penix. Arguably the most controversial pick of this draft so far is Michael Penix to the Falcons, and McMillan was one of the guys catching passes from him as a 6-foot slot receiver for the Washington Huskies, Peter.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
This is probably Chris Godwin 2.0. If you look at his measurables, 3rd-round pick, runs about 4.5. He's not a blazer. You know, we got the looming situation next year and going into the last year of Godwin's contract. Are you going to be able to afford 2 guys at 18 to $20 million a year? This could be Chris Godwin 2.0. God forbid Godwin's not here a year from now for whatever reason.
Are you trying to put me in a bad mood on a Friday night?
No.
That's my guy. That's one of my guys, Chris Godwin.
But if you can get a second Chris Godwin, if you get 2 Chris Godwins, if you're able to keep them all, I just think he's gonna be a nice.
And by the way, when Jason Light grabbed Chris Godwin out of Penn State in the middle rounds, there weren't many Buccaneer fans jumping up and down on that pick. Didn't know, right? Right. And look how it turned out. I'm not saying that McMillan is guaranteed to be Chris Godwin. No. I'm just saying in Jason Light and staff we trust.
Yep.
And whatever it is with the University of Washington, I mean, it's the same thing with a mid-round pick with Cade Otton back a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Whatever that pipeline is, they keep it going. UW, University of Washington to Tampa Bay.
Got to love that. It was a LSU thing also, but you got to love the SEC because, listen, we could sit here and say there's other teams, there's other conferences, but at the end of the day, the SEC is the best college football conference out there. Why? Because they play big boy football. They have the most athletes that are usually drafted.
Speed and more speed.
Yeah, speed and physicality. Let's talk about the quarterback run here, TJ. How surprised were you? I mean, it was amazing. I went 6 for 6 to start the draft. And again, I have this on record. I've got to make a reel out of this. I went 6 for 6. The Titans killed me because they take J.C. Latham, which I had that pick wrong. I thought they were going to go Fashanu from Penn State, and then I get J.J. McCarthy and Bo Nix, and I always think of Bo Nix, Bo Callahan from draft day. Bo knows, and I got those picks right. But why was there such a run on? Were you surprised that there was such a run on quarterback?
Yes. Well, especially when Atlanta paid $100 million guaranteed to Kirk Cousins in March, and they turn around and take a quarterback at number 8. And one of the things they were getting killed for is Michael Penix was probably still going to be there later on. If they had traded down a couple of spots, 3-4 spots, they could have easily picked up another number 1 pick and still gotten Michael Penix. So that was strange. And then, Jason, I'll kick this to you. There was all this talk about Bo Nix, a show that we collaborate on, the Press Box. All the talk was, is Bo Nix even going to go in the first 2 rounds of this draft? And Denver and Sean Payton is so much enamored with him, they take him at number 12. So you match the famed 1983 draft with 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round, and it's not just 6 in the first round, it's 6 in the first 12 picks, Brother Powers. That was surprising.
You hate to say it, it was a smell of desperation by Denver, because if they didn't get Nix, the drop off from Nix to Spencer Rattler is significant. And if you look at Denver's roster, when you have Zach Wilson and Jared Stidham on your roster, and that's it, you almost were forced to have to take a quarterback. And there have been indications that Peyton really liked Nix, but again, to take him at number 12. And I would say this, if you really like a guy, whether you take him at number 12 or number 20, don't let 8 spots determine if you really like him. So Peyton must really like the guy. We know he's a good quarterback coach and guru kind of guy, what he did with Drew Brees. But again, he better be right here, because this will be another 3 or 4 year project if he's not.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't make it work with Russell Wilson. And of course, if you're being the head coach of the team, you always want your guy. So this is his guy. There's no more excuses. If this doesn't work out for Sean Payton, who, throughout his career has done a pretty damn good job with, resurrecting the career of Teddy Bridgewater, getting him a new deal. Of course, Drew Brees, Jameis Winston had some success with until, eventually went back to the old Jameis Winston. But
I'm going to give you a little tidbit about the Falcons quarterback situation.
Okay.
Remember back 10, 11 years ago whenever Kirk Cousins got drafted?
Yes.
By Washington?
Yes. RG3, yes.
Who did Washington draft in the first round that year?
RG3.
RG3,
right. So
correct.
Kirk Cousins was now the second guy, a fourth-round draft pick, the same draft. Again, RG, if you're RG3, you're thinking, what the hell are they doing drafting Kirk Cousins in the fourth round when they just spent the number 2 pick on me? The more you think about it, I know it's risky and expensive. Does that tell you maybe Kirk Cousins' recovery from the Achilles is not going as great as we think it is?
Maybe, but there's another point about this. And again, we're going to live this with the Buccaneers playing the Atlanta Falcons twice a year for the next 2 or 3 years. However this plays out with Cousins and Penix, we're going to have a front row seat, Buccaneer fans. The fascinating part is he's 36 years old off the Achilles.
Right.
So this is an insurance policy, obviously. And you know what? It's an inexpensive insurance policy in 2026 and in 2027 because he's not making 20, 30, $35 million a year, Michael Penix, at that point. So I think, yes, you can knock them for picking him after signing Cousins. That's valid. But I understand the mentality of what happens if something happens to him. And if we are thinking big picture on salary balance, Michael Penix is a bargain in 2026 and 2027. The contract lessens in those couple of years, where if you want to make a move with Kirk Cousins, that could be the move. But we know this is the reality. If Cousins has a bad game or two at the beginning of the year, they're going to be screaming in Atlanta to play Michael Penix. So they have invited their own controversy, their own raging controversy into the locker room by doing what they did.
They really have.
And think about it too. You were probably going to pay. You think you're going to be pretty good if you're Atlanta, right? You would probably have paid a backup quarterback decent money of $4, $5, $6 million to be the backup to Kirk Cousins. So why not invest that money in? That's about what Michael Penix is probably going to be making as the 8th pick. You're spending that same money on the backup quarterback. Penix is going to be your backup. And worst case scenario, if he needs to play early because of injury, he can play and he'll be ready to play. He is as ready to play as any of these guys from a playing in college, number of starts, sophisticated offense he played in college. So it ain't the worst move in the world. And maybe next year's quarterback class ain't great in the event something will happen to Kirk Cousins this year.
Very true. And one more time, Peter, for people that are just joining us, on the Buccaneer draft pick, Jalen McMillan, he was a big-time target of Michael Penix out of the slot with the Washington Huskies. I think I saw on number of receptions, I think he had 95 receptions in 2022, 2 years ago. He didn't have as many last year because of some injury, because he had a knee injury that sidelined him for part of the year. But this guy had 6 catches in the Sugar Bowl semifinal game of the college football playoff from Penix in the win. He also had 6 catches in the loss to Michigan in the national championship game in Houston. He was a target of Michael Penix. Jalen McMillan, the guy that the Bucs got with the second of the 2 third-round picks, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. We're on with the media icon, Mr. TJ Reeves of the Buccaneer Radio Network. Powers on Sports Podcast. It's Jason Powers. I'm your host, Peter Blake, here, recapping the Tampa Bay Buccaneer draft. I want to go back to Chicago because, of course, I was kind of talking about 2015 with starting this show, which, by the way, congratulations, guys. 8 years in the books for the Sports Web. You have been definitely a part of that.
Good for you.
Yes, sir. But the excitement in 2015 was starting the show, and, of course, Jameis Winston being the number 1 overall pick. You can kind of duplicate that and say the same thing is going on right now with the Chicago Bears and Caleb Williams. TJ, do you think this organization has done enough for this guy to be successful and possibly compete with Detroit in that division and maybe make a playoff appearance? What do you say?
I don't know that I go that far because they still have other needs besides him. And I have questions about Caleb Williams' ability to stand in the pocket, read defenses, and throw. Certainly electric arm and talented. And how wild is it? Lincoln Riley has now had 3 number 1 overall picks. That's never happened before for a head coach.
Crazy.
Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and now Caleb Williams, all number 1 overall picks. So then again, Chicago's track record over the last 20 years or so, picking quarterbacks in the first round. You want the names, Peter? You want the names?
Yeah,
we got recently Justin Fields. Before that, we got Mitch Trubisky. Remember, they traded a number 1 pick to move up 1 spot to pick Mitch Trubisky from 3 to 2 and not take Patrick Mahomes. And as Jason was pointing out earlier in the week, could have had Deshaun Watson too.
Right.
They picked Mitch Trubisky instead of either one of them and gave up a number 1 pick to do it. The Bears in that draft. Rex Grossman, number 1 pick before that. Sexy Rexy was the quarterback for Lovie Smith as a first-round pick of the Bears. And how about Cade McNown of UCLA before that as a number 1 pick? The Bears' track record has been pretty abysmal with first-round quarterback picks. Let's see if Caleb Williams can live up to being any better.
Well, basically, it's been a quarterback graveyard. It's up there with the Cleveland Browns, right, Jason?
It is, but I will say this. They've surrounded him with plenty of weapons now. There's no excuse now as far as from a weaponry, and TJ's point is great. Can he stay in the pocket and hit the layups? You're not going to be able to run around in this league like he did at USC. He wants to make every play a run around playground play. You can't do that in that league or you're going to get killed. And, that will be the key to Caleb Williams. You can make some of those plays a couple times a game, but if you're going to try to make a living by running around in the pocket, those guys are going to eat you alive in that league.
Nope, not happening.
All right, so I know it's early in the process, and we always overreact when it comes to draft picks. But in your opinion, TJ, besides the Bucs, who do you think is mostly improved by what they did in this draft the last 2 nights?
I have to confess that I have not sat here and studied it all, but I just saw the Arizona Cardinals had literally made, 7 picks out of the first 92 picks in the draft.
Yeah.
Tonight they get Trey Benson, the running back from your Florida State Seminoles. I'm looking for who else they got. They got a tackle from Illinois, big side of beef that was playing for Brett Bielema. I'm looking for who else they got.
Marvin Harrison Jr.
They got Marvin Harrison Jr. last night, which he's got the great pedigree of a Hall of Fame father at the position, and I called a couple of his games at Ohio State. He's obviously a player. So the Cardinals you have to look at as a team that really was able to help themselves. But again, you can't fall off the floor. You only got one thing to do. That's try to get up to your knees and get back up on your feet if you're Arizona. So that may be a team to point to right now for somebody that helped themselves.
How about the Rams getting 2 FSU defensive linemen, Verse and the kid Braden Fisk, who's kind of that nose tackle guy, so maybe the Aaron Donald replacement. So the Rams got 2 local guys. How about, Washington's been applauded having a pretty good draft. They got the kid out of Michigan. I know the Bucs like that Sainristil still DB that I know the Bucs, a lot of people had projected the Bucs potentially to take. Obviously, pair him with Jaden Daniels and what they did there. And remember, the Bears also drafted the other Washington receiver, Rome Odunze. So they are loading up at offensively. They had a pretty good defense the last half of the year. And remember, they made the trade for Montez Sweat late in the year. So the Chicago's pretty close here to being at least pretty serviceable in that division to be competitive.
Let's go out to Dunze from Washington for the Chicago Bears. Do you have a problem with them going for another wide receiver? I get it. You're trying to give Williams as many weapons, but it almost seems like the Detroit Lions all over again. Remember that? I feel like you could use those best resources in going with an offensive lineman or an edge rusher, TJ. Do you think they kind of went overboard, or are you waiting to see how this all plays out with the 3 wide receivers and the Keenan Allen, the DJ Moore, and Dunze? Yeah,
they have definitely upgraded, and the DJ Moore pick, the DJ Moore trade from Carolina gave them flexibility, and now you got weapons around him. I mean, if you're Caleb Williams, you got to be happy about that. And they got good tight ends as well in Chicago. So, I mean, yeah, Kmet is one of them, and they've got building blocks, obviously, there in Chicago. But, again, very tough division with Green Bay, with Detroit, and Minnesota expected to be improved with whatever ends up happening for them at quarterback. I was just looking, too, Carolina Panthers, they end up tonight getting the Texas running back Jonathan Brooks. If I'm not mistaken, is he the one that had the knee injury? Yeah, had the ACL, so he's coming off a knee injury. And then they took the Kentucky linebacker Trevin Wallace And we'll see a lot of these guys, obviously, with Carolina. And for the New Orleans Saints, I'm just looking at their draft tonight when you're talking about who did well or not. The Saints get Kool-Aid McKinstry tonight, the Alabama defensive back, fairly high in the second round. And I did a couple of games with him. He's an excellent returner as well, punt returner, kick returner, as a cover corner. And Alabama, again, has been a factory with the defensive backs that they have put in the NFL. So it's fascinating around the South what the other teams are doing, and that includes Atlanta tonight. They took the defensive tackle from Clemson, Aurora Horo, if I said that right, Aurora Horo.
Yeah.
And then Braylon Trice, the edge rusher from Washington. I think I saw this, that the Washington Huskies have already had 8, I think it was 8 a little while ago, 8 players taken in the first 90 picks of this draft. So Kalen DeBoer, the new Alabama coach who was the Washington coach, they deserve a lot of credit. I mean, obviously they got all the way to the title game. They were the Pac-12 champions, and they've had a lot of guys drafted in this draft so far in the first 3 rounds. Washington.
Yeah, they have, and that's a good thing for Alabama Crimson Tide fans to see, because they have major questions about DeBoer taking over for Nick Saban, which, by the way, I don't know about you, but whenever I get an opportunity to hear Nick Saban break down something and Bill Belichick break down something and do it together, I'm impressed. But yeah, go ahead, Jason. Give your thoughts here.
No, I was going to say one thing about Odunze. Remember, Keenan Allen's in his early 30s. Last year of his contract, makes a lot of money. So that may be a 1-year rental there for Keenan Allen. So Odunze might be the guy ready to be the number 2 guy next year along with DJ Moore. So that might only be a 1-year deal with Keenan Allen there in Chicago, depending on how they do. And in that division, say what you want, you got to score points now. That used to be a defensive division. Now with Detroit's can score, Green Bay's offense, Chicago's got to be able to score points. Minnesota scores points, so you got to have as many weapons. You can't have enough weapons in Chicago. So I know I know your guy Harry the Greek's got to be pretty happy with the draft.
Yes, pretty happy. Roger Shu, the tribal troll, is pretty happy. Travis Faley is pretty. We have all kinds of Chicago people out there that are very excited, and I get it. I understand it. What do you see, TJ, this Bucs team doing tomorrow? Do they address the corner? I think it kind of tells you something. There are still some corners on the board you could go with, but maybe the Bucs are just happy with what they have. They feel like addition by subtraction. You trade Carlton Davis. You couldn't field. You give Zion McCollum the opportunity there to finally start. You pick up some guys in free agency. So maybe they're just happy with what they have.
But what do I keep saying, my friend? You cannot have enough cover corners. So they could go right back to that in the 4th or the 5th round. I don't know that for sure. And you may do the same thing with another edge rusher. You can't have a
linebacker.
Yeah, linebacker or outside linebacker. You can't have enough of those guys. And maybe it is an inside linebacker because Devin White is gone. You've got KJ Britt there in the middle. You've got Servassier Dennis, who you drafted last year. So, again, in Jason Light, we trust. I know I'm slanted. I know I am biased. But you keep looking at day 3 guys that they've gotten in the past as well, like a Cade Otton, like a Jake Camarda, the punter and the kickoff specialist, like Trey Palmer a year ago. I'm anxious for day 3 tomorrow. Let's see what's there in the 4th through the 7th round, guys.
Here's what I think you're going to see in the 6th. They don't have a 5th round pick as of right now. 6th or 7th round. What's the one position that you can find these guys that have been super productive over the years in 6th and 7th rounds?
Running back.
Running back. You're going to see the Buccaneers take a running back in one of those 2 rounds, in my opinion, because, again, we know Rachaad White's a good player, but a speed guy would be helpful in the backfield to supplement what you got maybe with Chase Edmonds. So don't be surprised if the Bucs take a speed running back, or a guy, maybe a tight end guy that can really run. A guy like the kid out of Florida State, Jaheim Bell, a lot of height, really athletic, not a very good blocker, but a kind of a outside big wide receiver kind of guy. Don't be surprised with a guy like that.
All right, I'll give you a name. You love names. A mutual Tampa brother from another mother. Powers knows where I'm going. Vince Ferrara out of Knoxville, Tennessee, the morning show host on the Sports Animal, the radio station in Knoxville, and on the Tennessee Vols radio network. Vince gave me a tip back on Wednesday. He said, what do you know about the Bucs and Jalen Wright, the running back for Tennessee? I said, preach to me. I said, tell me more. He goes, Jalen Wright, one of his official visits was to the Buccaneers.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Now the Bucs could bring in 30 guys. One of the 30 was Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright is still sitting there. Have they completed? I believe they completed the third round, right? They're done for tonight. So Jalen Wright is still sitting there for somebody, for anybody. And right now I'm looking at both Mel Kiper's best available, and I'm also looking at the CBSSports.com best available, and they both have at running back Jalen Wright as the top running back that's still sitting there. I don't know if that's somebody they look at in the fourth round. I don't know if he's still there later, but just file that name away, because our buddy Jason Powers and Peter, our buddy Vince Ferrara was tipping me off that the Tennessee running back might be a guy that they would take a look at. And Jalen Wright's 5'11", 210, kind of on the smaller side. The Bucs have kind of favored that with running backs in recent years. Here we go again, SEC player out of Josh Heupel's offense. Just a tip. And watch out for the name. Watch out for the name Jalen Wright, Tennessee running back.
Here's another name with some NFL pedigree. The son of a former NFL player, played at a big program, plays a position that the Bucs could be looking to fill. Obviously, at linebacker, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Keep an eye out on that.
Yeah. Well, Jeremiah did have a cup of coffee here. Of course, for so many years, he was Eagle Buccaneer killer with the Eagles.
When he played at Clemson, he was a Clemson guy.
And I did a game last year, a Clemson game on national radio, and he made some plays in that game with NC State.
Undersized, so again, a little undersized.
Day 3 guy, hungry, maybe.
Special teamer to start
NFL with. NFL pedigree might weigh in there too. Just keep an eye on that.
Love that. You got to love that. All right, TJ, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. Give me some final thoughts here for night 2 of the NFL draft.
From a Buccaneer standpoint, again, you were looking to address a couple of needs. Pass rusher, defensive back. And again, for those that might just be tuning in, you address it with an Alabama pass rusher and a Georgia defensive back. Have those two programs won any games the last few years in college football?
Yeah.
I mean, good Lord. So I think you've got to, we don't know for sure, but you've got to look at those two situations and say they've helped themselves with younger players. And then we're going to be curious about Jalen McMillan and what kind of job he can do out of the University of Washington coming to this team as a slot receiver primarily, a guy catching a bunch of passes from Michael Penix. How does he complement Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Cade Otton and Rashad White out of the backfield? You cannot double cover everybody. So maybe this is a guy that can suddenly become, listen to me projecting, a 40, 50 catch guy in this offense from Baker Mayfield. Maybe.
Yeah, a zone buster. Jason, your thoughts?
And one more thing to remember, what has Jason Light been known for in his history as a Buccaneer GM? Small school offensive lineman. Don't be surprised if they take a flyer on somebody, maybe the 6th round, of a small school offensive lineman. Remember Alex Kappa, Ali Marpet, maybe a guy that's
Cody Mauch last year. Cody Mauch out of North Dakota State, right?
A Division II guy. Maybe I know Canada's starting to produce some more offensive linemen. Maybe a guy like that. That's seriously as a developmental offensive swing kind of guard, tackle, center kind of guy. Small school guy. Don't be surprised. Offensive line.
McCormick is out there. I believe North Dakota State.
I'm looking right at it. South Dakota State. He's a guard.
Okay, there you go.
Mason McCormick is his name, and he's listed. He's listed of the remaining offensive linemen. He's in the top 5 for Mel Kiper, for whatever it's worth, of offensive linemen that are still out there. Any offensive lineman, tackle, or actually any offensive guard or center. He's listed as the 4th best one that's remaining out there. Mason McCormick, who knows, South Dakota State.
And the other part of this equation is stuff will start heating up mid-afternoon tomorrow with the scouts calling guys that they don't think are going to get drafted to try to offer them deals to come sign with the Buccaneers as an undrafted free agent.
That's
right. We saw the success they had last year with a guy like Christian Izien and others. So that's another part of this equation. That's part of the draft tomorrow. Guys that don't get drafted that our scouts are on the phone with trying to lock up. Hey, come here. You're going to have an opportunity if you come here. Look what happened last year on the roster.
Absolutely. With that being said, guys, thanks a lot for your time here. TJ, go ahead and promote yourself here on the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend.
Hey, I always love being with you, and it'll be Buccaneer season before we know it, and the Buccaneer Radio Network, and I get a little downtime right now. I get to hang after the draft here, hang with the family, go take a little vacation, have a good time, but it'll be training camp and the preseason before we know it, but you can keep up with me there on social media at Bucs Sideline Guy, and I'll pop in whenever you need me. Put the bat signal up whenever you need me on the sports web between now and then. Good to be with you tonight. I'm glad we could make it work late night on a Friday night.
TJ, I got to ask you something.
Sure.
You got the hat behind you. Are the Lightning going to get swept tomorrow? Is the dynasty over?
I think the answers are yes and yes. I mean, sooner or later, you were going to have to go through a phase where you rebuild.
Yep.
And it looks like that's now for the Lightning. I know this could be blasphemy, but you got to look at who's got trade value. And you start looking at what can you get in return if you start mentioning names. Dare I say it, if you start mentioning names, Nikita Kucherov and
Hedman.
Braden Point.
Hedman.
As I don't know how much Hedman, maybe Hedman's older. I don't know, but I mean, Braden Point and Kucherov, Stamkos is older.
Vasilevsky.
You don't trade him. But Braden Point, Kucherov, you got to give up something to get something in terms of younger players, free up salary cap, draft picks. Listen to me playing amateur hockey GM at almost midnight on a Friday night. But at this point, you got to get younger. You got to get under the salary cap. You got to get better. You got to get younger. You got to get faster. Those things you haven't had. So it's disappointing for the Lightning. We just hang on to the great memories of 2020, 2021, 2022 when they very nearly three-peated with all of this. It seems as though right now they are about to have a reboot of some. You guys agree with that? The Lightning are going to have some kind of a reboot.
Yeah, I think you do, and I think it's disappointing because you talk about it. They're a veteran-laden team, and they continue to start out, and they did this throughout the season, and it comes back to haunt you. You just can't keep on turning off the switch, and they've turned off the switch. They've come out in these 3 games and had a chance to win all 3 of these games, but they've come out flat, and there's just something wrong. I don't think it's the coaching. I think it's the players on this team. You may need to have a reboot.
Some of it is just older, veteran, slower players. That Florida team is younger, faster, hungry, and they looked like it. You know, that said a lot for them when they were behind 2-1 in the second period and the Lightning were rolling. They didn't panic.
The Lightning were all over them.
Lightning were all over them, and they didn't panic. And that's not an accident. Florida won like 55 games this year. So it's unfortunate because we've owned those guys down in Miami, but now they're apparently going to boot the Lightning out. And then what are we looking at for the offseason and a reboot for the Bolts? We'll see.
Lots of changes could be coming. And I tell you right now, speaking of boots or boot it, the Tampa Bay Rays tonight lose to the Chicago Whites.
Is Harry going to let you hear the end of that one?
Oh my God! He texted me, and I was like, "You're
the
joking."
White Sox. The White Sox scored more runs tonight than they have in the last 2 weeks, I think, against the Rays.
They have, and I think they scored more runs than they have wins for the whole year. They have 4 total wins for the whole year.
They were 3-21, I believe, going into today. Wow.
Colin Poche, by the way, went on the IL. Like I was saying, he was throwing beach balls and meatballs. I believe that a lot of fans already thought he was on the IL. I mean, this bullpen is not good. The starting pitching rotation and the offense is even worse. I get it. It's early in the season, but you lose to the Chicago White Sox.
I know. The Rays struggling. The Lightning look like they're going to get eliminated. At least we have a little Buccaneer optimism here with the draft.
Orlando Magic are back in the series.
Yeah, there you go. They won last night against Cleveland Cavaliers, so now it could be a series. We'll see how that works. Jason, give me some final thoughts here before you leave.
All right, check me out. I'm going to be on Spectrum Sunday night, the Spectrum Sports 360 show, Sunday night, 10:30 with Mark Moses, who's over in Orlando. I'm sure we'll be talking some draft stuff, maybe some Orlando Magic. So check me out there on Sunday night. And then Power Zone Sports Podcast. And like TJ said, whenever you need me, Peter, we'll jump on with you, man. And Press Box Radio. So I co-host a couple days a week. It's a show based out of the Atlanta, Georgia area, all over the Southeast. We talk SEC, college football
every morning, 5 days a
morning.
week, every morning.
Well,
Press
8 to
Box
10
Radio, 8
a.m.
to 10 a.m. Eastern time.
That's
PressBoxRadio.com is the place.
That's what I got to listen to because I was going on my diatribe tonight where I was talking about Gertrude and Esther and Winifred beating me down. And by 9:15, because I come in all positive with my coffee, by 9:15, my day is basically
Turn it on, baby.
I need to turn something on to take my
Get
mind.
a little Press Box Radio going. Yes, there'll be a lot of talk about the draft, I'm sure, next week. And all of the SEC players in particular being picked in this draft. It's crazy.
Good stuff.
Some guy in the orange hat over there, he's on there occasionally too, in the Final Four hat.
I have been known to pop on the press box from parts unknown, from wherever it takes. And listen, I have enjoyed being on with you tonight, Peter. And for Buccaneer fans, hang in there. It's not over yet. Let's see what else you get on Saturday. And again, these are the building blocks that help your team from a salary.
Your team right here.
Yes, salary cap standpoint, you need these guys. You need guys from the second, third, fourth, fifth round. Maybe not as much sixth and seventh round picks, but rounds 2 through 5 are guys where they can be contributors and they don't cost very much. Yeah. So that's the reason why you always point to this. So pay attention tomorrow for 4th round, 5th round, 6th round picks that might be able to help the Buccaneers as well as everybody else.
Do they take a quarterback maybe late too as a number 3 guy with Kyle Trask's contract running out this year?
Michael Pratt, is he still
about that? But
Jordan Travis, possibly out there.
Big injury question mark there.
Yeah, big injury. All right, guys, thanks a lot for your time. The great TJ Reeves, the media icon.
Yes, sir.
Powers on Sports Podcast. Jason Powers, no quarter given. BuckPower.com. Thanks a lot for your time, and we'll see you soon. Fellas, wings here, okay? Let's get some wings. Let's do it.
We got to do that.
Yes. All right.
Have a good night.
All right. There you go. Right there. Great stuff there. Let's read the rest of these comments, and we'll get out of here for the night. As it has been a successful night, you would say, if you're a Bucs fan. I would say it is. Definitely successful. Of course, I'm the eternal optimist. I'm the guy that has the Bucs flag in the background. I got Super Bowl 37 and Super Bowl 55 and Mike Alstott in the background. So what do I know? Well, I kind of know something, right? So we'll see how these picks work out because it usually takes about 2 or 3 years to make an impact. But sometimes you do get players like a Kalijah Kancey and a Yaya Diaby and a Christian Etienne that at points during the season make an impact right away. Hopefully we made an impact on you tonight. Let's read the rest of these comments and we'll get out of here for the night. Let's go to David. Dave England, one of my favorites, would have liked to seen a cornerback or linebacker here, but I trust Light. David, wide receiver wasn't a weakness last year. Rounds 4 to 7 is Light's happy place. Like that. David, you got to draft for the future. Joe Sewell, do you think the Bucs will trade Godwin in June? I'm not sure about that. I'm not ready to say that. That doesn't make sense to me to trade one of your biggest weapons. I get it. He's coming into free agency and a big-time cap hit. But every time Bucs fans, or I wouldn't say Bucs fans, I would just say talking heads say, oh no, the sky is falling. They're about to trade one of their wide receivers. They make it happen. They make it work. Why would Chris Godwin want to leave here? You've got Mike Evans on one side. You got a great offense. You got a great organization. You live in a great place. Again, that's the eternal optimist coming out of me. But why would you want to leave? Everything is set up for you to succeed. I get it. Maybe more money. And I don't think the Bucs have been shy about paying money. This is not the Tampa Bay Rays here. Which, by the way, again, lost to the Chicago White Sox. What? All right, best coverage of the draft by far. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Yes, I read that comment. Great comment. Thank you. What if Brady joins the Broncos? He's not going to join the Broncos because he's a minority owner of the Raiders. I believe that deal is done. Gary says, great night for the Bucs. Love these picks. Absolutely. David says, I'd rather McMillan or McMillan type of pick in round 4. Bucs need a running back. They may address that tomorrow. Jalen Wright, there you go. Jalen Wright should have been the Bucs 92 pick. He's still on the board. He may be the pick tomorrow. We will update that situation. Watching Lightning come back and win the series, that would be great. Well done. Thank you. Trask will be a superstar for the Bucs. I'm not sure about that. Alex, absolutely great picks. Jason Light, best GM in the National Football League. Best comment, I think, of the night. I agree with you on that. I love me some Jason Light. I really do. I mean, that guy just gets it. And plus, he answered my question about the boat parade. Did you guys forget that? Let me see if I can get that up really quick. I don't know if I have that or not. Yeah, I asked about the boat parade. He told me, they haven't re-signed Tristan Wirfs yet or Antoine Winfield. But then after that, when they do that, they'll have the boat parade. And then he also added, and I'll be on the boat on Friday. So there you go. I like that. Thank you. So thank you, Peter. Great coverage as always. Best in Tampa Bay. Alex, you are the lifeblood of the show. Fans like you are the reason why we're around for 8 years. Thank you, sir. And Joe Sewell says no. All right. So thanks a lot to all the guests for the night. Jason Powers, Powers on Sports Podcast, Mr. TJ Reeves, Leo Haggerty, Harry the Greek, and all the callers. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Friend me on Facebook at Peter H. Blake. Always welcome for opinion. This is your show. This is what the Tampa Bay sports fan wants. Whether the Lightning are winning or losing, we're here for you. Whether the Rays are winning or losing, we're here for you. Whether the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are winning or losing, we are here for you. You are always welcome. Definitely like and subscribe. Never feel like you're not a part of this show because, once again, you are the lifeblood of it. Thank you for the great 8 years. Hopefully another 8 years. We'll try to work on sponsors. We'll try to work on a venue. 3 things. You know them. You love them. You got to have them. Bring your passion. Bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for fans of the Sports Web and the Tampa Bay sports fan, it's your time. Have a great night, and we'll see you soon on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. This show is 1,000 times better than any radio or TV show because of Peter and actually interacting with the fans. I love the fans. I mean, this is what I envision. When I started this show at the radio station and it was 1,000 watts and we had nobody calling in and we had to create these characters, and I always talk about Rich from Clearwater and the reason why that vehicle was created because we didn't have any callers. So we had to create callers, and we gave the callers the opportunity to call in twice. And we used to give them the walk-up music. And damn it, I would do the walk-up music if it was not for copyright on Facebook or YouTube. But I am monetized now, so I have to mind my P's and Q's. But I love that. I love interacting with the Tampa Bay sports fan. Sean, the sports don, loved interacting with the sports fan. This is what this was built on. This is what this show was all about. Whether it's one person watching, 10 people watching, 100 people watching, 1,000 people watching, 10,000 people watching, 100,000 people watching, 1 million, which is the goal of this show, it doesn't matter. We're always going to interact with you